All right, hopefully we can make this work this time. Everybody hear me okay? Let's just hope so. Here we go.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
Okay, I apologize. No, I'm not a boomer. Shut up. I'm a Gen Xer, thank you very much. I take great offense to being called a boomer. I'm Gen X and I'll chew a hole right through you. You want to know why Aaron Clary is so ornery? That's why. Okay, we're going to try to do this again. This is live from Las Vegas. I am in Red 2 Studios today, and I'll explain to you why here in just a moment. Yeah. If you like that song, you can always pick that up from Jinx on Reverb Nation / Jinx, JYNX, Las Vegas. If you can't figure that out for yourself, you can always go in the description and click on the link. Yeah, we're going to get into it today. There's a lot of things to cover today. Sorry, I'm just coming back from my 29th wedding anniversary. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear my voice right now. I am not going to start until I see at least 1 in the freaking chat right now. Okay, here we go. Okay, good enough. Here we go. Let me kill explanation. There we go. Much better. All right, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Here we go. Where'd we go? God, I can't believe I screwed that one up as well as I did on the last one here. All right. Ready? Here we go.
Think about the only world we've ever known. It's been a world where we can pretty much have everything we want without any human interaction. You know, we've got delivery apps, we've got dating apps, we've got self-service checkouts, we've got online porn, we've got online lectures. This is a world where we don't need to interact with anyone or have any unplanned encounters. And it's a really tragic world. And I can't get across how little familiarity young people have with any sense of community. This idea that online communities are a lifeline is just a joke to me. I think it's a real indictment of modern society that we think that they're a lifeline. There's no such thing as an online community. It's a complete oxymoron. If you look now at the state of Gen Z and how lonely young people are, we can see that this promise that the internet was going to connect us was a complete lie. I mean, 3/4 of UK children spend more time inside than prison inmates. Young people are saying they're lonelier than pensioners now. So I think it's a real tragedy that we've lost this spontaneous interaction. And I think if you think about Gen Z, we've never known any different. We've never known flirting before it became sending an Instagram DM to someone. We've never known falling in love before it was swiping on dating apps. We've never known a world without obsessively documenting and editing and performing yourself as you go. And I think obviously we're struggling with our mental health now because, those unplanned encounters in communities and with people are crucial to mental health, and we've completely lost them.
Like Instagram face, how all of these women's faces look exactly the same because of like filters and fillers, injections. And the whole point that she makes in the video, which is really fascinating, is you get like positive reinforcement when you have the big lips and the big eyes. So now that you're getting these dopamine hits of like these perfect faces, it's skewing how you see your own. And basically we're now kind of morphing into kind of all like looking the same.
So that's a great post because it's true. Like it's weird how it's changing the population as opposed to moving back to loving the individual beauty of a situation or a person or nuance. Like nuance is the next N word. I think there's going to be a hot trend towards more individual and unique looking people. I think we've saturated the let's look the same.
I think
Like me and Jake Monroe?
The core piece to this is there's been a push to, I can't talk about getting things done because it needs to be natural. And that all of these faces popping up, it shows you that it's doing a lot of damage to young girls because they think that these big eyes and these big lips and these tiny waists and like it's all real and that they can't achieve it. And then they're all secretly getting injected younger and younger because like they feel self-conscious that they don't have it. So I think it's more that coming out that that's not natural is important.
Every week unfollow people, and for every 5 you unfollow, add one person who makes you a better human, not somebody who's just distracted by tabloids.
Yeah, but none of them make you a better human, particularly this girl right here.
So Allison, I just
Okay, and we condemn that.
fucking clear right now.
Okay, and we condemn that.
Fucking clear right now. You have never for a fucking second cared about slurs. You've never cared about the language, and you definitely don't just not mute people because you've muted me this entire conversation, and you muted me in your chat. You're a lying fucking fuck, and you're a fucking stupid ass.
So a little bit of context. This is Not So Erudite, otherwise known as Kyla. She is she's religiously, fanatically devoted to Destiny, as you probably already know. And this is what she looks like when she doesn't have an anxiety pin.
White liberal.
Oh dear.
Sending the
I actually muted. My one rule is to mute people when they're spamming the
text. Those
have said nothing about it. Your chat has been calling me pick me. You could have at any point in time just piped up and been like, hey chat, by the way, we can shit on Kyla for all of her opinions, but we don't really get to do like misogynistic stuff. Right? The time on YouTube.
Oh my God.
Red pill incels. That's my community. I debate whatever podcast. Just so it's clear.
Okay, so then turn
podcast.
You know, what's funny is like I did a video about her way back, like almost 2.5 years ago now, because this was like before I even knew who she was. I know Ryan Stone had done like her podcast without knowing who she really was. And she had come out with some like tweet, and I think I used it as the thumbnail for the video that I did about her. And her tweet was, and I'm paraphrasing here, was like, I would like nothing better than to see like Rollo Tomasi's channel like go down because he's like destroying the lives of young men, impressionable men or something like that. And it is so satisfying to see shit like this.
phone over.
I go into whatever podcast and fight for feminism.
You don't have to read it. Turn your phone down. Clear the display.
And yet I come into your community. I come into your community. I get called emotional.
I'm gonna be real.
Daddy issues, and I get called so many
Another guy.
slurs constantly. Oh, you stupid fuck. We don't agree.
What are you talking about?
Fucking
You know, I think we need to start a GoFundMe so that we can make sure that the people who need anxiety pens can get them when they need them.
You guys are FD Signifier, as somebody who is friends with him, would only be proud of Tashika because she's been the only one with a fucking spine who's held up to her principles. You fucking losers.
Cool.
Just fuck
On their own. I don't care what black people want to say. I don't care what disabled people want to say. I don't want to tone
Oh my God.
anyone.
Well,
I wanna
again,
talk about
Kyla,
ideas. Let's be very fucking clear.
I also, before I continue, I also want to point out that this is the same bitch that last summer, as a matter, right around this time, as a matter of fact, that she and Destiny decided they were going to collude together and pretend that I had some alt channel or alt account on a racist alt account on Twitter. This is one, and I have to say that boy, what a difference a year makes, man. What a difference. Oh, let's do.
And there's like your husband and a waste of time.
Totally.
I mean, if you're the kind of person who wants to get married, there's your husband and a waste of time. And once you've identified that this is not your husband, then there's just that other guy left. And by the way, like if you want to hang out with the other guy, like party with him, have sex with him, travel, have fun, that's great.
But don't be waiting for him to be your husband.
But don't delude yourself into thinking that that's your husband. There's only two men.
Speaking of only two men.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
We'll come back to that one. And now for this message.
They're attempting to woo a woman. I'm going to show you a secret move. This is a move nobody's talking about, but I know for a fact all women want. You see this? You see this? All we want in the depths of our heart is for somebody to do this. You want her to be looking at the floor and then like, oh, now she's looking at you. She's yours. You could be a villain slaughtering my people across the 7 kingdoms. What a red flag. But that
War brides, anyone?
that's all it takes. Just a little whoop. Huh. This moment has yet to happen to me organically, but God, I long for it. What even is the point of romance if a man cannot slightly tilt my chin up with a sword? Why?
So let me get this straight. The invading tribe can come in, slaughter your men folk, slaughter your sons, probably not your daughters, but slaughter your sons. But as long as the villain lifts your chin with the conquering tribesman lifts your chin at the blade of a sword, everything's cool.
Why should I even be on Tinder if that's not a possibility?
Anybody want to, I really need to do this. I have not done, I keep telling you guys that there is a Rational Male article, chapter in a book somewhere. I've written pretty much everything about everything. But the thing I might be a little bit remiss at is, I know bird hands. Wait, it's not bird hands, it's okay hands here. But I might be a little remiss at is combos, right? Here's the combination. This chick, not only does she apply for the War Brides dynamic, she also applies for the Hybristophilia Awards dynamic. And so combining those two, like what's the crossover between Hybristophilia and the War Brides dynamic, the Conquering Tribes dynamic? And by the way, I should say the Stockholm Syndrome, which somebody told me recently was debunked. I still am waiting for the link to read that one, but I've got plenty of data to counter it the other way. In fact, maybe I'll show that today. But last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't replay this because it was just too good not to replay.
On Goth, I learned that there were inspirations that led to certain individuals to create and pursue things that were not yet real in an environment that felt oppressive and homogenous, gray, bleak. So to be able to escape from that kind of thing and indulge in the more literary or artistic and theatrical, indulge in some of your uniqueness, I thought was a fantastic sense of liberation from that kind of thing. See what I mean? And you can do that today. You can listen to the dull hum of the leftist ideologues currently tearing this country to pieces in the name of freedom, I guess, or criminals. I think it might be criminals. There is an expectation of what you should think, how you should act, what you should stand up for, and how you should support that. And in the face of all these things, in the face of this regime, you can instead escape to something that does not require you to take part in any of these things. The inspirations for being a part of a specific subculture like Goth have stood the test of time. They were timeless then and they're timeless now. The romantic side to human suffering, the beauty that you find in the suffering of oppression, the necessity to create counter art within your counterculture to challenge the societal norms, especially as a man these days. No, Goth is just as relevant these days as it's ever been. It's just the enemies look different now, don't they? The aggressors, the litigators, they look different. Their faces are different. Their slogans are different, but the feelings that they evoke in people are all the same.
Yes, I agree. I am a big fan of Jake Monroe. I know I hate to fanboy on him. He's a really cool dude. Speaking of fanboys, I actually got to meet with Mystery from Mystery Method. Yeah, that guy, that Mystery, Eric von Markovic. I think I'm pronouncing it right. If you haven't seen my Instagram, there's plenty of photos of us on Access Vegas last Wednesday. And speaking of which, now I can actually give you some context for yesterday's non-show. I apologize for that. One of the announcements I was trying to make, like this. like a bad Godzilla movie. I think we're going to Godzilla over there. we had a really great, I think it was probably, I dare say, one of the best, if not the best episodes of Access Vegas was last Wednesday, and it was absolutely fantastic. Got to meet with Mystery for the first time, and I'm not going to say I wasn't even a little bit starstruck. It was kind of cool to talk to him, and he's like so down to earth, and he's so cool to hang out with. So expect more from me and Mystery at some point. He will be back. I'm going to try to get him on my channel, if not to Access Vegas one more time, and do something that's a little bit more focused on the both of us. A lot of people were complaining. Yes, complaining, Sam Bada, about the fact that he couldn't get a word in edgewise. Right. Well, that's because it's Access Vegas. It's not a one-on-one interview. I'm sorry. If you want to chime in, it's like, okay, so I look at Access Vegas like this, okay? It's like a Thanksgiving dinner. It's like the whole family comes together and there's a big pile of food on the table, and everybody, you better, that's my chops, or that's my drumstick, or that's my chicken breast, or that's my mashed potato. And you have to the kids who are the hungriest to go after the food that's on the table. And if you've never been to the table before and it's your first time to Thanksgiving dinner at Access Vegas, then you don't really understand how it's like kind of done. And Mike is like sort of the patriarch he's like daddy of Access Vegas. I'm Uncle Rolo, but he's definitely daddy on the table there, for more reasons than one. But let me get this right. There we go. I'm trying to monkey with I got new angles here. See, I got new studio, man. New studio's got 2 cameras in it now. It's awesome. Sorry if I'm a little bit low. I'm not too low energy. Trust me, when we get to the Lauren Southern section of today's show, which is going to be first, I'll start with that. I won't be low energy then. I have to admit, I will give you a little bit of context for yesterday. I shot that show on Thursday of last week, and then my wife and I decided we were going to go to Mount Charleston, which is a sort of kind of like a really good hiking area. Thanks, Aaron Clary. That's up not too far. It's about an hour away, about an hour's drive away from Las Vegas, and it's in the mountains. And we decided we were going to stay there for about 3 nights, 4 days, and just came back today and had a great anniversary. Thank you very much, 29 years. And just had a really good time up there, just chilling in the cabin, going and doing some hiking. Went on a trip for they have a ski area. It's the only ski area in the, I know nobody thinks about Las Vegas as a ski place. It's not, but the Lee Canyon ski area, that's right at the top of Mount Charleston there. And no, there's no snow up there and nobody's skiing, but if you bring your mountain bike, you can go up to the top of the mountain, and they have this like single track that you can go down, and it takes a while to get down. It's a lot of fun. I wish I would have brought my bike. I didn't even know it. I just went on the scenic tour, but I will tell you, I'm going to go back up there with my mountain bike and see if I can do it. I don't think it would be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Yes, I do mountain biking every now and then. I know I'm a nerd like that. I have a very expensive mountain bike that I wish I used more often than I do. I don't have time to go and do shit like that anymore. But anyways, it was a lot of fun. And yes, and yeah, I was flexing on Cappy more than once over the course of the weekend. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look me up on Twitter, go look me up on Instagram. And I'm not going to explain it. The pictures explain everything. Yes. So no, I'm not boiling. Actually, it was very temperate, very cool up in the mountain. Now down here, it's about 100 degrees, but up there, it's probably about 60 or 70. So that drops 30 degrees just going up there. But it was a lot of fun. And so me trying to be Mr. Efficiency, I recorded you guys a 2-hour and 10-minute show on Thursday of last week in anticipation for Sunday's show. And I set it up as a premiere. I haven't done that in a very long time. I haven't done a pre-recorded show, and God knows I haven't done a premiere in quite some time. And I fucked up. I screwed up. My bad. The audio was non-existent. The only thing that was existent was the video stuff that was on there, because I whenever I do this show, I'm doing it through my Rodecaster board, which I was, but I always have to switch over the audio source to my road board, and I failed to do that. And so I basically sat there and talked to myself, essentially talked to myself for 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I apologize for that. That's why I'm doing a makeup show today, which is just as well, because I'm kind of glad I did. Only because a lot of stuff has new information has come to light about the Lawrence Southern situation since then. And there's a few other topics I didn't get to last week on that show that I really wanted to this week. And I felt like maybe I was a little, you know me, I felt like I was a little bit more long-winded than I needed to be about the Lawrence Southern thing. But again, I am struggling with being comprehensive and being concise. And that is always my bugbear, right? Is trying to figure out how to balance those two. But before I jump into it today, let's get into a couple of these CGD. Thanks. Hey, Rolo, what's your relationship status with Martina, Markota, and Bex? How did you meet them? They seem cool. Martina actually reached out to me. I will explain a little bit more about Martina during the Lawrence Southern explanations today, because she was definitely involved in that. Bex is just somebody I bounce ideas off of. She is no fan of Destiny's. Bex became a really good friend of mine during the DHS NGO stuff, but she was also watching Destiny and Progressive Victory and all of the Twitch kids who decided to leave Twitch and come over to YouTube and try to take down every red pill guy that there was. More about that later. But she was definitely instrumental in helping me figure out a lot of things about the sort of the political action committee that is Progressive Victory, that essentially paid off people like Destiny, and may still be paying off people like Destiny, Farah, Jasmine Jafar, and Not So Erudite definitely was on the payroll if she's not still on the payroll. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but that factors into a lot of what I'm going to talk about when we get into Lawrence Southern today, who has decided to creep up out of the grave for one last stab at life, unsuccessfully, I should add. The last person she should have come after is Andrew Tate if she was looking for clout, but I digress. CGD, hey Rolo, it was awesome to see Sean Kelly could come on Access Vegas. Yeah, it was. He came on. He was a last minute addition to that show, by the way. I didn't know he was going to be there until like about 2 hours before the show. I firmly believe he's going to get up in the ranks with Rogan and Lex Friedman. Yeah, he is. He's doing very well. He front loads all of his content. I did a show, both Mike and I did a show with him. Our second show. I've done one prior to this, but I did a second show with him back in the end of May or the beginning of June. I can't remember. And it's yet to air. That's how many people he front loads. He'll do like 50 interviews in a row, front loads that content, and then has his production team just sort of like drip feed it out to all of his socials and then out to his YouTube. So he has a full post-production team, and he knows what he's doing. I'll give him that. The dude is like very tall. He is 6'6", and Mystery is 6'5", if you can believe that. So yeah, he's a good kid. I like him a lot. CGD again, crazy enough, talk with characters like Garolo, Sartain, Andrew Wilson, etc. has lowered my approach anxiety with women. Talking with guys I look up to was more nerve-wracking than talking to women. Yeah. I wipe my ass just like you do. And then the innate female fantasy. I'm thinking of killing you, but I love you. Yes, exactly. This was pretty good. What are your thoughts on the new cast dwarfs? And I know it's not a super chat, but I did start because it was too good a question. I'm down. I have not played Age of Sigmar in years, if I'm honest. I love the game. I have not played it in its present incarnation, its present edition. But I have two factions. Well, I mean, I have the old world, stuff, from Warhammer Fantasy Battle from back in the day. But I have two factions. One of those happens to be was Legions of Asgore, which of course are Chaos Dwarves, the last incarnation of Chaos Dwarves. And of course, I'm very pleased to see that Age of Sigmar or Games Workshop anyways is sort of giving a nod and a hat tip to the old school models from the Legion of Asgore. So they no longer have those big, huge top hats and make them look like ridiculous, but the like they did in the 80s or no, in the 90s. But I have a absolutely huge army of Chaos Dwarves or Legion of Asgore, and so I plan on incorporating the new faction into my old ones and see what works and what doesn't. Like just so I can proxy models and stuff, and go with it from there. I'm a little the people are calling the look kind of an Art Deco look. Yeah, I kind of get that, but I really like the ancient Babylonian kind of theme that they used to have, and I was really hoping they would lean back towards that, but they can't go too deep into that. And then the problem also, I think a lot of people are complaining about, is that the new models and the new aesthetic for the new models is kind of like World of Warcraft. It's too video gamey, and that to me just is a lack of. Yeah, they do, but everything in AOS looks like that these days. In fact, I was going to say the Primera Space Marines are really Halo Marines. That's I think there was this appeal to sort of a generation that was brought up on Halo and all these first-person shooter type games, and they wanted to have the Marines, or they wanted to sort of alter the aesthetic of the Space Marines to look a little bit more like those video games, and it's like what I've called the video gamification of the hobby, which I think is not the right direction to go with it. But and it's what happens when marketing directs creative instead of creative directing marketing. So, but I'm going to definitely be incorporating the new models into my old ones. So yes, in case you want to geek out with me in my hobby time, I should really do a hobby stream at one of these. Why not? Like what Ryan's got his own little side projects going on right now too. I might as well do that. Rollo, do you think Aaron Yeager was wrong? Who is Aaron Yeager? Is that this chick? Is that this one right here?
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either.
No, that's not them. That's Andy Byron. Okay. Andy Byron. Who's Aaron Yeager? Somebody can tell me who Aaron Yeager is? I was curious about that. The Alpha K. After I read the iterations between you and Clary, I just thought this is some of the most confusing old man shit talking I've ever seen. If you don't know my background with Aaron Clary, like none of it makes sense. Aaron and I give I shouldn't say like everybody everybody from Rule Zero, everybody from RAR Squad, everybody from especially Masculine Geek, gives Aaron Clary no end to the rations of shit. So we shit talk each other all the time, but it's because it's out of love, man. Okay, that's enough announcements for today. I'll get into some more later at the top of the hour. Let's get into it. Lauren Southern. Shall we talk about Lauren Southern one more time? I feel like I talked about her for 2 hours on Thursday. I'm going to just make a long story short. Lauren Southern has essentially vindicated everything I have ever claimed about her and Destiny. We're finally at a position right now where, like, not only have I been vindicated as of last year for courtesy of the leaks on Kiwi Farms, which, by the way, I'm about to put I have not those ones. Where'd they go? Here we go. These are the Kiwi Farms leak links if you are interested in them. There's too many of these to actually cover, so I can't actually show all of them on the screen today. But I have to start with I have to go back into, I hate to rewind to back in time here, but that's what I'm required to do. So if you'll check the chat right now, I just put the Kiwi Farms link in there, so you guys can have a look at that. These are the quote unquote leaks of, and they're not the videos that not the dick sucking videos that Steve Bunnell has passed around. These are the links or the leaks for Lawrence Southern. And just to show you, like if you click on that, you can just see the massive amount. In fact, I think maybe I'll do is I'll just do a screenshot of this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'll share the screen with you real quick. This is how many leaks there are. These are the leaked text. There's a whole thread dedicated to this, but is there more? No, it's just these are the ones right here that I want to show. I mean, each of these is an exchange between Destiny and Lauren. I could go line by line, but that would probably take about 3 hours for me to go through every last one of these things. But just to give you an idea that pretty much all of this right here more or less vindicates me from everything that I said about there being a connection between Lauren Southern and Destiny. Now, why did I say that? Okay. The reason I'm leading with the Kiwi Farms links is because in December of 2022, I was emailed by an individual, and his name, and now I can say his name, Aaron McCready. Okay, Aaron McCready was Lauren Southern's, or is Lauren Southern's ex-husband. Aaron McCready came to me hoping that I would have some sort of connection through, I don't know, some MRAs or maybe even what's his name, Andrew from Andrew Esquire from Legal Mindset, to help him with a parental alienation case that he had going on with Lauren Southern, and he wanted to get child custody as well. So there is a son that was produced between Aaron McCready and Lauren Southern. So in December of 2022, I started a very long email exchange, and then that we moved it over to a Signal chat later on after that because we wanted to, chat in live time. I have Aaron's phone number. I've already checked it out. It is I think it's the +61 country code, which is for Australia. And had I been able to do get any audio out on the last video, you would have also known that I read the first 3 digits of his phone number. It's probably a good thing I didn't, but I have checked the number out. It checks out. And I had to because it was on a Signal chat and you use your phone number on Signal. So anyways, I was approached by him, and initially it was a conversation about how he could go from being a U.S. citizen, a U.S. national, who is a government contractor working in Australia, could somehow get custody or at least visitation rights to seeing his son, produced, of course, by Lauren Southern, in Canada. So now you've got an American citizen working for the federal government. He's not a Fed. He is a government contractor working in Australia. And I'll explain to you why that's important here in a little bit. Aaron Yeager is a character in Attack of Titan. I don't know. I don't watch Attack of Titans. Thanks. Sorry. Is that what that is? Aaron Yeager. No. Sorry. No knowledge whatsoever. Let's stop the show so I can tell you I have no knowledge who that is. So anyways, so he hit me up wanting to know if I knew any lawyers or anybody who could help him get his visitation rights, at the very least, to see his son. There's a reason for that, because in January of 2023, there was a restraining order or a do not contact order that was sought after by Lauren Southern and her attorney. And I thought this was kind of interesting. Now, the reason why she's doing this is because she's trying to pre-establish the fact that he's like sort of an unfit father, right? And that's what you do when you're in a divorce. I think even what Jim Sexton would probably back me up on this, is you try to make your, like, husbands are turned into monsters overnight. And one of the way that they're turned into monsters is you get a restraining order against them, or you say, oh, I'm worried about the safety of my children when he's around. I'm worried about my own safety. And how do you do that legally? Well, you get a do not contact. You get a do not, you get a restraint in the United States. You get a restraining order, which I think is interesting because he is in Australia at the time. She's in Canada, and in January of 2023, she's filing for this because she is in fear for her life, fear for the safety of her child, that Aaron McCready might in some way jump on a plane, fly for what, 14, 18, 20 hours to fly into Toronto or wherever the hell, or British Columbia, I'm sorry. And in some way knock on her door and demand to see his son. Anyways, so I started this exchange, this email exchange, and this sort of just this discourse, and I would say like even a slight friendship with Aaron McCready over the course of from December of 2022 right up until about June of 2023. So I'm having this back and forth with him, and he is explaining to me a lot of things. And in one of these exchanges, he tells me that there was an affair between Lauren Southern and Destiny. And apparently, according to that little niche, or that little social circle, which would include Not So Erudite, which would include Destiny, which would include all of his DGG Discord forum guys, his little micro cult, I was getting close to the truth. And the reason why I was getting close to the truth was because I was having this exchange with her ex-husband. Now, everybody wants to say, like, well, how do you know, Rolo, that this was her ex-husband? Maybe you were being tricked. Okay. I'm going to explain to you during the course of today's discussion here how I know that for a fact that this was Aaron McCready, even though I already have the phone number. So I could, again, I can't actually post the number, but I can post at least the country code and the area code of that phone number. And I can also give you 100% confirmed proof that Aaron McCready is in fact, I'll do that right now. Aaron McCready is in fact the ex-husband of Lauren Southern. Here, I'll do it right now because he was kind enough to send me this back in the day. This is the order, the general order that was issued on January 20th, 2023, which was it pursuant to the Family Law Code, blah, 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 Family Law Act. Aaron Mervyn McCready is prohibited from contacting Lauren Southern, effective directly or indirectly, or directly or either indirectly or directly, except through a qualified mediator for the purposes of negotiating a parenting agreement. Now, so this is what I was, and if you'd like to see the second piece of paper, there it is right there. And there is a signature by the court. So you can see this is the actual court documents that I was given back then. So yes, his name is Aaron Mervyn. I forgot about that. Mervyn McCready. Okay. I know that this is the dude. How do I? Okay, well, if you don't believe that, if even you, oh well, Rolo could have forged that. Anything could be anything on the internet, right? You could have Rolo could have forged that. Well, it's got the seal that's already on there. I don't think Lauren has ever denied that those are false documents, so there is that. But I've got an airtight alibi here, which I will explain to you. So I have had this conversation with Aaron McCready, and there was two topics of conversation that we have had over the course of 6-8 months, something like that. And so right around, when was it? April of 2023, I produced this video, and it was called Destiny's Child. I know, clever title, right? And the reason why I called it Destiny's Child is because according to Aaron McCready, he told me that there had been a long-standing affair between Lauren Southern and Destiny, which has now been confirmed courtesy of the leaks from Kiwi Farms. Okay. we know with 100% assurity that there was an affair, and there probably still is some sort of contact and some sort of, I don't know, I'm not going to say it's an affair, but there is definitely some sort of, let's just say, collusion between Destiny and Lawrence Southern. Also, how do I know this? Well, we also know this courtesy of Brittany something or other. I can't remember her name. She was a blogger. She was the one who broke the story on Steve Bunnell and had it confirmed to her. Who confirmed it? His ex-wife, Melina. Melina has been already hit up several times since these leaks, which happened in October of last year and in through November. And that's when the videos came out of him doing his sex pest video stuff and his we already know about the allegations and if not the confirmations of Pixie and Sherry and at least 2 other women who are accusing him of sexual assault and or revenge porn at this point. And so we already know that he is in legal hot water. I don't know if it's a criminal case or whatever, but if it is a criminal case, and I do know that distributing let's say intimate material without the other party's permission, that qualifies as revenge porn in the state of Florida. And that is at least a state offense. I don't know if it's a federal offense, but I know that it's a state offense and it is a criminal act. So essentially what Steve has done is admitted to a criminal act, and he knew it. And if you have followed President Sunday or any of the other guys that are sort of covering this, even to this day, still covering it right now, you'll also know that not so erudite Kyla has been involved in this as well, and essentially tried to broker hush money between Destiny and Pixie, which then, of course, makes her an accomplice to Destiny's crimes in the state of Florida. So anybody having Destiny on their show or giving this guy any kind of juice or any kind of clout or any kind of credibility, or even having, let's see, Kyla, not so erudite, on your show, Brian from whatever podcast, and Myron from Fresh and Fit, if you're giving these guys, these characters any kind of juice, you're aiding and abetting these people effectively. And I'm not saying you're guilty of a crime or anything like that. I'm just saying that why are you giving soon to be convicted criminals any kind of airtime? And I shouldn't even point fingers at those two. Andrew Wilson. Why are we giving Steve Bunnell any juice? He is a criminal. The suits have been filed. You know, are we going to say, oh well, we don't know for sure? No, there's 4 women that have come up and said this. And then on top of that, it's not even so much that. It's like, especially like in the case of like, say, Andrew Wilson and stuff like that, who by the way, I have the utmost respect for all these people, Brian, Myron, and everybody else. This is not an attack on them. I understand why they would do what they want to do. They want to just get as much click through or a CTR as they possibly can. But with these guys, especially with people who have attacked me to the point where they wanted to erase me from the board, they wanted to take me from the game board. And not just me, they wanted to take you too. They wanted to take Myron off the board. They wanted to take Brian off the board. They wanted to, well, Andrew wasn't around back then, it wasn't as prominent back then, but they would have probably wanted to take him off the board. How do I know this? Because every one of of Destiny's girls, his plants, who have ever been on the Adam Sosnick show, have ever been on whatever podcast, have ever been on anything that we have been on, have openly said, including Kyla, I want to take Rollo out of the game. I would like nothing better than for his channel to be deleted. Quote unquote, I'm paraphrasing, but quote unquote. So these are the people you're going to give juice to. This is like, why are you not just cutting off their oxygen and moving on? It's boring at this point. Like, who else? Like, is there anybody new that we can sort of move the dialogue along with? I mean, they're boring. Even like whenever I see like Chris Williamson like interviewing Destiny for the 3rd fucking time about what's the state of the manosphere and what's red pill and blah blah blah, and you're the foremost authority on all of this. Well, there's a reason why he interviewed them, because we had the DNC through Progressive Victory putting these guys up to it. I don't know if there was money exchanged hands, but I do know this is when Destiny is on the Chris Williamson show for the 3rd time, it's boring as fuck. But they're talking about the same damn thing. Is the red pill over? Yeah, I think it is. Its time is gone. It was a trend and now it's gone. No, it's not. You know nothing about it. And that's why guys like Destiny get on Chris Williamson's show and guys like Rollo Tomasi do not. Because I'm not greasing anybody's palms with taxpayer dollars, courtesy of the DNC, courtesy of Progressive Victory. Don't believe me? There's a whole big documentary video about how Progressive Victory essentially started buying the voices of influencers on, well, back then it was Twitch, but of people exactly, I mean, literally Destiny and Not So Erudite and Jasmine Jafar and what is her name? Vara. And the rest of these morons, these children. So why are you giving them juice? I'm sorry, I had to do a little aside there, but the thing is like I keep seeing like these debates between Myron and Destiny about Israel, and like it's like so important right now. Is there nobody else you could talk to besides Destiny? You know, that has the same clout as Destiny? Is there nobody you could sort of like, you know, butt heads with? Because the guy is, if you're going to give this guy juice, especially at this state, it's like, this is the guy who was talking about how great it was that there was overspill fire when they were trying to assassinate Trump. This is the dude. These are your politics, and this is the guy you're going to talk to, and you're going to endorse, even if it's a tacit endorsement. I just don't understand. I mean, maybe it's just business, brah, but I don't understand. They are 100% like guilty of this shit. They admit to it. They admit to the signing NDAs with Progressive Victory. They admit to this. To hell, even Farah and Jasmine couldn't. They pleaded the fifth with Mike Sartain when he asked them point blank, "Are you getting paid from Progressive Victory or from a non-governmental agency or whatever the fuck it was?" Right? And each one of them clammed up. And the reason they clammed up is because they'd signed NDAs, and if they broke those NDAs, they would be open to legal proceedings if they had. So, and we know this now. Like when, man? When, oh Lord? Do I have that somewhere?
I know who my God is. Hallelujah.
All right, getting back to the Lauren Southern connection here. Well, I have to point out the Destiny connection first, because when I did the Destiny's Child video, which came before the Great Southern Trend Kill video, that was April, I want to say, of 2023. And I was getting close to the truth. And I was getting too close to the truth. Because according to Aaron McCready, and I'm about to read you some of the engagements or some of the exchanges I had with Aaron McCready on Signal. By the way, I have done this show before. I did this show in June of 2023. And then I also did this show once again as recently as last year, as recently as October of 2024, when the leaks first started coming out, because I was vindicated once again of the presumptiveness that there was an affair between, and by the way, a very like borderline personality disordered, like psychotically, like, you know, clingy affair between Destiny and Lauren Southern. And if you read that, go ahead and read those exchanges between the two of them. You'll get the, just read the first like 4 or 5 of them. You'll get the gist of what was going on between Destiny and Lauren. And so when in that video, in the video with Destiny's Child video, clever. There was Aaron McCready had told me that there was a child that had been produced between the two of them. Now, he didn't know what happened to it. He had heard that it was a girl. So it would have to have been at least far along enough in the pregnancy to determine the sex, at least according to Aaron McCready. Now, I don't know if there was actually a child produced. It could just be hearsay at this point. But one thing we do know for a fact is that there was an affair between Lauren Southern and Destiny. I was correct about that. So the one thing I can sort of the information and so moving on from there, what can we glean from that? is that I was right about it, and I was uncomfortably right about it. So much so that they had to come up with something to throw me off the. They had to come up with the squid ink to shoot into the water so that it would distract me or distract other people. And I can remember during that time, people had sent me clips of Destiny's show of him saying, again, I'm paraphrasing, but him saying things like he had looked up my background, or he had his DGG army looking up my background to see if they could find any dirt on me. And they couldn't, because I don't have any dirt on me. I've never been responsible for an abortion. I have never cheated on my wife. I have been married now for 29 years. I have a daughter who graduated with honors cum laude from, well, I can tell you now, from UNLV, and has an advanced degree. And, you know, I've been married longer than most trad cons. I have a kid who is also married. I have been married successfully for a long time, happily, thank you very much, for a long time. I am who I say I am. So what happens when you can't find dirt on your opponent? You create some. And that's exactly what they set out to do, because they couldn't find anything on me. Now, they can go after Donovan, which they did. They can go after MLD, which they did. They can go after Rich Cooper, which they did. Because during this time, remember, this is 2023. This is 18 months before the election. And this is exactly what these people do. These children, I should say, do. These children in adult bodies do. 90% of them are on the autism spectrum, as you can tell from Not So Erudite's meltdown. There's been similar meltdowns from Destiny as well. But the problem is that they weaponize that autism. So when people tell me like, hey, Rollo, this is the laziest generation ever, Gen Z, blah, blah, I'm like, no. They are the most motivated generation in the history of humanity. It just depends on what they're motivated about. Because if you say Rollo is the enemy, they will alter the course of their lives to try to find some way to bring you down, which is exactly what they were doing. So when, like, say, Donovan Sharp went on Adam Sosnick's show, and even to this day, Donovan will say, I got railroaded by Sosnick. And honestly, now, I don't think so. I think it was the panel that was on there. If you look at Amy Dangerfield, who now has a great job at Valuetainment, I guess, she was part of Destiny's crew back then. So was Angela Knight. So was, what's her name? Well, Farrah was one. Farrah was the plant that was on the show with me and Mike and Justin Waller in May of 2023. Trying to think who else. Jasmine Jafar most definitely was. She's already admitted to being part of the Progressive Victory Kids. Let's see who else. Well, Kyla, Not So Erudite. There's several others. Vaush was one of them as well. There's a few others. The usual suspects. And it wasn't just chicks. It was, mostly it was, but the girls that were on those panels who were giving Donovan a ration of shit or giving MLD a ration of shit, they were all part of the same program. And that program was bring down as many red pill dudes as they possibly can, because that was the tactic of the DNC, which I think is really ironic right now, because you see all these videos, and you see all of these articles and everything about how, we need to get, even Richard Reeve, we need to get guys back into the fold and bring them back to the Democrat side of it. We need to do outreach to the young men, because we really lost them during the 2024 election cycle. And it's like, no, you never had them. And you knew you never had them. Why do I say that? Because the strategy in 2024 was not to bring more young men into the fold. It was to marginalize them and hope to God they didn't go to the polls, which you failed miserably in. So when I see these people, especially like Not So Erudite right now, talking about, we need to really reach out to these guys and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you don't, because you're the one who was instrumental in alienating them in the first place. And you didn't even have to alienate them. They were already alienated. all you had to do was keep them from going to the polls. All you had to do was demoralize them, and you failed at that. And that was the political strategy of the Democrats, and it still is to this day. And it's why they're going to lose in the next one too, because they actively work against conventional masculinity, and have been forever. That's it. Like, conventional masculinity is antithetical to the democratic leftist ideology, and it always will be. And there's no way around that. You can't soft sell that. You can't say, hey, come on. Like, remember the comedian that I show? I forget the guy's name. I show him on the clips every now and then. He's like, one guy over here is like, real men cry. And then the other guy on the other side is like, hey, come over to our side and you can fuck bitches and hoes and make a lot of money. I think I'm going to go with this guy over here. Right. I mean, you simplify it down to, like, the comedic level, and that's really what it's about. But the fact of the matter is during this time, when I was doing the Destiny Child video, that was right at the same time when everybody was trying to figure out ways to bring me down, because my scalp would have been a really big scalp to add to that collection. Tearing down and bringing down Rollo Tomasi would have been a great addition. It would have been a feather in their cap if they could have done that. And they failed. They didn't, I'm glad to say. But it didn't. During that time, I knew damn well that what they were trying to do. In fact, I even went and I talked to MLD. I talked to Donovan. I talked to Richard. Well, I tried to reach out to Rich Cooper. I said, we're under attack right now. We're under attack by these Twitch kids. And it seems, I kind of paired it up with the political, landscape at that time. I didn't realize it was all through, progressive victory until later on. But at that time, the impetus was bring down the red pill. And that's what they did. And that's why you got like guys like Chris Williamson only interviewing those Twitch kids. That's why people go, Rollo, you'll never get on Chris Williamson because he hates you, blah, blah, blah. No. I'm not paying him. No. I'm of a different political stripe than this asshole. That's why guys like Destiny go on Soft White Underbelly, or Lex Friedman, because they're not interested in what I have to say, because it doesn't fit in with the political agenda that these guys are committed to, or that are supposed to be super opposed to. So I'm not saying like Lex Friedman is very much conservative, right? But he's not going to have me on there. Why would he have me on there? There's no friction, or there's less friction, I should say. Or, for instance, if I go and I have a real cogent argument against, say, somebody like Matt Walsh is never going to have me on his show, because I'd rip him a new one. I'd tear him apart. I would tear apart Michael Knowles. I would tear apart Andrew Klavan. I would tear apart he's not there anymore, but Jeremy Boring. It wouldn't even be a debate. You want to know why Pierce Morgan keeps like ghosting me? And I should explain to you guys the whole Pierce Morgan thing. I'm done with Pierce Morgan. Pierce Morgan can go himself, because this has been the second time that I literally got ghosted by Pierce Morgan's people. So Pierce Morgan's people, don't call me anymore. I'm done with you, you fucking idiots. Because it's just like, they'll call me up and say, hey, do you want to be on the show? Yeah, sure. Yeah, when are we going to do it? What's it about? Oh, it's going to be about Nala Fit. Nala Fit is going to be she's going to be speaking at Turning Point USA. Do you think she should be talking there? No. Okay, good. We'll have you on Monday. Monday rolls around, nothing. Haven't heard anything from anybody, and they just ghosted me. I'm like, I'm sorry. I understand this is like the new frontier in podcasting and everything else, but I'm like come from like a background of like somewhat professionalism. Like when I worked in wine and spirits and I worked in gaming and stuff like that. And I'm not a stickler for this kind of stuff, but I do need a little bit of professionalism in dealing with people. And if that's the way you're going to deal with me, then just go fuck yourself. You don't need me anyways. You could just go get Andrew Wilson for the 10th or 12th time. And I like Andrew too, but it's like, how many times are you going to get the same people on the same show? At that point, it doesn't become about the individual. It becomes about the salaciousness of what is going to transpire between that individual and whoever you throw on the show with him. And I like Andrew. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop for Pierce Morgan. It's not Andrew I'm worried about. It's Pierce Morgan. But yeah. Anyways, so getting back to Destiny's Child, the main point of that video was that there was a child that was produced between Lauren and Destiny, and This was back when we didn't even know that there was like a legitimate, 100% confirmed affair between the two of them. And I was getting too close. And that was when they started trying to think of ways to bring me down and to create dirt on me. And it was around this time that that they decided that they were going to, because I just simply I was repeating what I had heard from Aaron McCready, which was that there was a child that was produced. That's why I called it Destiny's Child, right? And then he and Lauren Southern and later on Brittany Venti, and I don't know how many other people who were involved in this as well. But apparently some of the guys from Nerdrotic were in on this. Some of the other guys from I don't know, maybe Jeremy from the Quartering understood what was going on, but they're all in the same kind of like inbred circle of fuckery, right? And I think it was Aaron, later on I come to find out that Lauren Southern had hired a Photoshop artist to pull this off, but they created false, forged medical record documents from a supposed ultrasound appointment that Lauren had made back in like 2002 or something, or 2022. And they had gone to the point of taking an actual PDF of an admissions document from a clinic in British Columbia, and then filled in the blanks and put in her name and put in medical numbers and everything else. And then they had a Photoshop guy, like, do the doc, check out the documentation. Right. And then they sent it to me anonymously and said like they were a former employee at this clinic, and Lauren had come in there and she had, filled out this form to get an ultrasound of the baby. And it was a complete forgery. It was complete fake. I come to find out that later on that summer, but it was right around this time, right around May, I think is when I got it. It might have been somewhere like between May and June of 2023. And I thought it was legit. I'm going to tell you why I thought it was legit. And I can tell you this now in hindsight, because my wife was, right up until about 4 years ago, she was an X-ray tech and a CT tech, and had done so and had worked in hospitals ever since I met her. And so she's got 25, 30 some odd years in medical imaging. And I showed this to her. I said, now granted this, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't like getting railroaded by this. And I showed it to her and I said, does this look like an admissions form? Like, would this be something that you would see like to, do ultrasound or an MRI or something like that? She looked at it and she goes, well, I don't know what the laws are in Canada, but it looks legit. And the reason it looked legit is because it was actually a PDF of an admissions form. It was just doctored by them. And then we even took it to, or she had even took it and forwarded it to a friend of hers who was still in ultrasound, and her friend of hers working at one of the hospitals here in Nevada had said pretty much the same thing. Like, yeah, it looks legit. And it did look legit because it was an actual PDF, right? Now, the reason for this is this was the plan. The plan was to get me to broadcast or in some way like show off or basically, post or put video of the actual admission slip so that they could go then and say, it's a fake or whatever. Now, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't about to post other people's medical information on my channel or on Twitter for that matter. I alluded to the fact that I had it, but I never posted it. And then, of course, they knew that I had it. And so that's why Destiny was tweeting out and putting in my comments and everything. Like, he was going to pay me. He was going to bet me. He bet me $10,000 that I didn't have what I said I had, like trying to bait me, to posting these things, because he knew that the minute that I posted medical documents, forged or otherwise, on YouTube, on Twitter, whatever, I would lose my account. First of all, it was a HIPAA violation. I knew that. Like, my wife even said, you can't post these. I'm like, yeah, I know. And so I was never going to do that. Although I had printed them out, I would have been happy to show them to people in person, but I wasn't about to broadcast them, because that would have been a violation of terms of service for YouTube and Twitter, and God knows, probably Instagram for that matter. I essentially would have lost my Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube, depending on how many of these places I would have like repeated and copy and pasted it over to those places to prove that I had it, right? And then it comes out that it's actually a fake. Okay. Well, this all started was begun. The germ of the idea began in April of 2023. Then on I don't know if I have this loaded on what was it? I think it was in the middle of, I don't have it loaded, sorry. In the middle of, I want to say May of 2023, or towards the end. I think it might have been towards the end, like Memorial Day or Memorial Day-ish, around that time in 2023. I noticed that Lauren Southern was making all these appearances on Tim Pool. And then when she was on there, she had the wedding ring on her finger on every appearance. And it was funny because I got this email, or I got this signal note from Aaron McCready. He says, why does she still have her ring on? We've been divorced since August of last year. So they've been divorced for like almost 8 or 9 months at that point. And so I was being a smart ass, as I am wont to do. And I went on Twitter and I posted this picture. I just did a quick screen cap of it. And I just asked a very simple question. I said, why does Lauren Southern still have her wedding ring on? She's been divorced for the last 8 months. Well, that's what triggered the Great Southern Trend Kill video. Because I think it was in the first week of June of 2023, Lauren decided to do her Come to Jesus video, where she's like in the forests of British Columbia, and she says, oh, I have to be honest with I'm going to be honest now with my followers and my constituency and everything. I've been divorced for X amount of years, blah, blah. And basically what she was admitting to is that she was wearing the ring to keep up appearances, to keep up this trad wife, good Republican, bacon bread and apple pies kind of shit, while she's sucking down Chardonnays on Timcast. And I'm going to also point out that one of the things that Aaron McCready also told me was that she was also seeing Tim Pool at some point. And I don't know how true that is, or if there's any veracity to that, but I will say that is what was one of the conversations I had with Aaron McCready back in the day. And you'll see what I mean here in just a moment. So she did this video, and like I said, that's the Come to Jesus video. That's when she decided that she was going to come clean and say, I'm actually divorced. And she started bad mouthing her Aaron McCready. And that's when all this stuff about him being a Fed started taking off. And I'm going to tell you right now, Aaron McCready is not now and never has been a Fed. Okay. I'm so goddamn tired of all these guys talking about glowies and all this other shit. And that's all that anybody wanted to talk about in 2023. And that he must be a Fed, and everybody wanted to believe cute little Lauren. All you guys who are now suddenly all on Team Tate because she's accusing Tate of sexual assault on her, you were on board with Team Lauren in 2023 to the point where you were ready to throw me under the bus. But when she starts making rape allegations against Andrew Tate, now suddenly you're on anti-Lauren's team, right? But you weren't back then. So what was happening was we have this conflicting stories, and she wanted to build up this narrative that her ex was a Fed, and that fed into her narrative of, oh, woe is me, my poor, I'm such a victim. I was victimized by a Fed, and he's trying to get custody of his kid, but he's really a Fed, and he's a Fed. And did I tell you he was a Fed too? He's not a Fed. He's a government contractor, American working in Australia. Got it? Thank you. Let's just clear that air. But once I had pointed out that she was wearing her wedding ring on Tim Pool, that literally forced her hand, and she had to do that video. And that's when Destiny and Lauren and later on Brittany Venti went on the offensive. That's when they came up with the forged medical documents. That's when they decided that this is how we're going to get Rollo off of the playing field. We're going to get him off the playing board here. And so that's when they decided to do all that. And I will say I believed it. I believed it at that time. I'm mea culpa, right? I did try to find out. I did my due diligence. I asked people in the medical industry if this looked legit, and I thought that I had legit stuff. Okay. But now we find out that all the stuff that Aaron McCready was telling me was true. everything, because now Lauren has decided, like within last week, like about a week ago, Lauren's decided that she's going to write a tell-all expose memoir about her wonderful life, and part of that happened to have the part that Aaron McCready had related to me in his exchanges about the fact that she had been with Andrew Tate. I'm going to read those to you right now, because in June 11th of 2023, I contacted Aaron because I was going to do the Great Southern Trendkill video, which of course is the counterpart to this one. And I wanted to make sure I was 100% accurate. In fact, I even make that case in these exchanges here. So what I'm going to show you is like 4 of these. Well, I already showed you the documentation of the restraining order, but I'm going to show you 4 exchanges that I had with Aaron McCready that sort of back up, and not only did I back up my claims, they are now corroborated and confirmed by Lauren Southern in her book. She admits to these things being accurate, that she tried to destroy my career over by keeping secret in 2023. Now all bets are off, apparently. And no one seems to want to remember this, and no one wants to go back over this, except it's not important to anybody except me. So I'm going to go and show you some of these things here really quickly so you can get an idea. Let's see. This is, I want to say, is this it? Okay, so this was the first exchange that I had with, this is the pertinent parts, okay? This was from a very long conversation that I had with Aaron on June 11th, 2023 in my Signal chat. He gave me permission to produce these and to publish these, so just so you guys know. Okay, this was me. I said, what was her involvement with Andrew Tate? I have to be very careful about this, as I wanted to make sure I was 100% accurate. So he said, well, this I can answer well, as she used to cry about this to me, as a few times it seemed like it was getting out online or something. She had screwed over, was trying to blackmail her back. I believe Milo, that is Milo Yiannopoulos. And I've got confirmation of this as well. Again, I'm like, I have a normal professional life. What the fuck is all of this? It's not just normal. Okay. So to really summarize, now I'm going to tell you why this actually, like, his suspicions about this being Milo is also confirmed, because Milo posted this recently. This is a bracelet, and this is a bracelet that Milo had in his possession. I'll show you the tweet here in a minute, but this is a bracelet that Milo had in his possession not too long ago, or well, right up until recently, I guess. And this was Lauren's bracelet. Why does he have it? Well, he has it because it was given to him by Paul Joseph Watson, whom she also had an affair with. just to clear the air here for you guys. I'm going to see if I can. Where to go? Grab this. I bookmarked the tweet, so let's see if I can return to it. I told them to, like, when all this came out, I said, hey, why don't you retweet that thing with the Paul Joseph Watson picture? And he didn't retweet it, so I did it anyways. Let's see if I can find it. I have so much stuff in my bookmarks here. Let's see if I can find this. God, what am I thinking here? Well, this was, it was in November. Here it is. Got it. All right. So this was the tweet. I'll put this up here just so you guys know I'm not bullshitting you, because everybody wants they want 100% confirmation. Here's your 100% confirmation. This was Milo. Okay. This is where this comes from. Excuse me, but Lauren Southern doesn't reject anyone. Here's the 1488 engraved Tiffany necklace she left behind at PJW, Paul Joseph Watson's house, after they had sex. I expected she'd been wondering what happened to it for a decade. Happy to clear up the mystery. Okay. So that confirms that this part right here. I believe Milo was the one who was blackmailing, and probably because she knew that Milo had that necklace from Paul Joseph Watson and was kind of holding it over her head. Like, remember what he just said? Like, he's had it for like she's been worried about this for a decade now. There it is. That was Milo. Now, I like Milo quite a bit. I got nothing against the guy, but he was kind of holding on to that. So it is confirmed. Okay, so to really summarize, here we go. Lauren, her and Tommy Robinson approached Andrew Tate to contribute money to an alt-right documentary. By the way, that has already been confirmed by Andrew Tate himself recently, just in the last like 4 or 5 days. Okay, they went there and saw him personally in Romania. Also, it was Andrew Tate that flew them out, not unlike Michaela Peterson, I should say. Lauren was attracted to Tate and visited him a few times and started making out and hanging out with him during the trip. Okay, remember, this is not from her expose. This is from Aaron McCready and my signal exchanges. Okay, this is back in June of 2023. She went back alone another time to secure money for the project. She got very drunk and she was on her stomach on his bed, and he got on top of her, pulled her underwear off, and was about to enter her from behind. Lauren was drunk and resisted. He told him no and to stop, and then locked her legs together. Tate put her in a headlock. Because that's what you do, and started to choke her out, telling her to open her legs. When he was finished, he said, "So what? I raped you. You can't do anything about it. Fuck off." She was traumatized by all of this and a few days later had a cocaine bender in London with Tommy Robinson and her film crew. In the process, she got wasted again and gave Tommy Robbins a blowjob despite him being married. Apparently, he told her they were splitting up. She was ashamed of all of this, and we had a long and detailed conversation about all of this, as she would be in tears about it as it was going to come out on socials at different times. That could be because of Milo's blackmailing. I don't know if he was actually blackmailing her back then, but I do know that he had the Tiffany thing with Paul Joseph Watson. I remained supportive and caring. It was before we were together. She is a self-inflicted, damaged woman. For all for fame. It's sad. I should also point this out. Oh, and she states she got herpes from him. These are all things she has explicitly stated to me. And then, last but not least, and then I asked him about this. I said, "Can you tell me about Destiny?" Because I was doing this. So I was doing this in preparation for my video called The Great Southern Trendkill. I go into all this, everything I'm reading to you here is already in that video. I've already done this 2.5 years ago. Lauren uses people to get what she wants. She comes across sincere about this as she doesn't realize she is doing it because she's got BPD, because she's got ADHD. Basically, once your utility is done, she just forgets about you. That's why she has very few friends and struggles to maintain relationships with people of any kind. Destiny was her ticket to getting back in the YouTube game as a somewhat reformed alt-righter, in my opinion. I had received information that they were hanging out a lot when her U.S. travel ban was lifted. They then started sleeping with each other as he is in some kind of relationship like that. That's already confirmed by Melina. Lauren then got pregnant, and it was a girl. They then just started formalizing a relationship, as I guess there is a kid involved. I do not know what happened to this child or anything moving forward since, however, have since been told that she is seeing Tim Pool and he has given her a job or something. That would also track with the timeline for Tenet Media, because Tenet Media wasn't even a thing until Lauren Chen allegedly took money from the Russians, $10 million from the Russians through Tim Pool, I guess, and began Tenet Media. And I want to say it was in the fall of 2023 is when Tenet Media started to get rolling. How do I know that? Because Lauren Southern decided that she was going to collaborate with Lauren Chen and create a documentary that Alex from Date Psych featured in about the red pill and how horrible and dangerous it was. And apparently you can't see that anymore unless you go to I think it's available on Rumble, but you can't see it on YouTube because YouTube basically deleted everything that is Tenet Media as a result of Lauren Chen. No one know what the hell happened with Lauren Chen and her husband, who were the founders and creators of Tenet Media through Tim Pool. And we didn't realize there was any Russian money involved until later in the campaign in 2024. How do I know that? Because I went on Tim Pool's show, The Culture War, which was on Tenet Media. No longer available. Glad I got the clips when I did. So Tenet Media, Lauren Southern, Lauren Chen, all of that shit's connected. We already know for a fact that there was an affair, such as it was, between Lauren Southern and Destiny. Was there a child? I don't know. That would be the next question. Did she get an abortion? Did she have the child? Did she put it up for adoption? Is there actually a love child between Destiny and Lauren? They've lied about everything else. Why wouldn't they lie about that? And I thought it was interesting when recently you have Lauren Southern talking about how there is a police report that she filed against Andrew Tate, because this is pretty much what she's corroborating in her tell-all memoirs about Tate. Now, I'm going to have to give you some caveats here in just a moment, but just to finish that story, one of the things that she said about Tate was that he essentially graped her. Okay. And I have to say grape because I'm not reading it verbatim from a source, but, and that there is a police report that she filed. Now, if this is a person who will go to great lengths and great efforts to create a narrative about me with false medical documents, what makes you think that she's not going to falsify police reports? She has a pattern of doing this. I know. I was involved in it. I was the one who was the on the sharp end of that stick, let's just say. Vindicated. Innocent. I'm not guilty. I am innocent of all charges. So all this bullshit about like, roll of this and roll of that, and all these people who jumped up my ass, like Jeremy from The Quartering, like whatever that dude with the beard is on Nerderotic, Chrissy Mayer, all you guys who are so quick to jump to the conclusions whenever Brittany Venti was involved or Lauren Southern was involved. Guess what? You were wrong. Rolo was right. I'm still waiting for my apologies. I'm still Jeremy, especially Jeremy from The Quartering, because I like Jer. I've been following Jer since he was opening packs of Magic the Gathering cards back in the day, back in 2017, 2018. Where the hell is that guy? Yeah, remember that? Remember when you did that video of me and calling me like some, red pill perv or whatever the fuck it was? Yeah, remember that? I do. I think there's an apology forthcoming. There should be. I doubt it, but there should be. That's the breaks, man. So let me get to these right quick. I want to flush these out of here. Rolo, curious, what year did the interview with Lauren on Discord, and did she invite you for an interview? Yeah, she did. I did an interview with her, and I want to say it was in the fall of 2022. And it was a Discord thing. She insisted on doing it on Discord. And had I thought about it, I would have insisted it be a live stream like on my channel. Because what happens on Discord is she can take that video and do whatever the fuck she wants to with it. And I didn't realize how Discord worked back then, because as far as videos, I knew how Discord works, but I didn't know what she was going to do with that. Of course, she's going to cherry pick every little bit of it and then rejigger it for her own purposes. Same thing with Michaela Peterson. When I did Michaela Peterson's interview, I did it because it was Michaela, right? But like she wanted to just jump up my ass for basically calling her a bad mother, more or less, or like killed a party. She wanted to know about that. She also wanted to clear the air with her involvement with Andrew Tate. We already know that there's something a little bit more going on than just that. Would you like me to show you the video again? But yeah, that was when it was on. And but at that point she just wanted to it was at a point where she was wanting to control the narrative. And these are, remember, the funny thing is that she was supposed to be a super conservative. She's not like some liberal. She's never presented herself as a liberal leftist lefty, but she's not. She's neither one of those. She's just a grifter is what she is. And if she thinks she can get more views, fucking with the red pill, like the red pill is everybody hates the red pill. Everybody, the left, the right. If you classify yourself or if you align yourself with anything that I talk about or anybody else talks about when it comes to sort of, the manosphere of the red pill, understand you're going to be hated. You are going to be hated by the left and by the right because you're speaking the truth, and both of those factions don't want to hear the truth. So yeah, that's when that was. And I'll be the first one to admit it. But I don't know where it is anymore because Lauren Southern fell off the face of the earth too. Please remind me of the name and year of the Amex report that women are now spending more than men. So marketing media pivoted to women instead of men. Okay. It wasn't the Amex report. It was, I think you're talking about the Morgan Stanley. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean. I think you're talking about the Morgan Stanley rise of the she economy, which was in 2018. It wasn't an Amex report. It was Morgan Stanley. If you go and you do a Google search for rise of the she economy, all one word, SHECONMY or whatever, she economy, you'll find it. That's the one that is being just butchered by people like Pearl Davis. So I think that's what you're referring to. The hell, it's Monday. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I was going to I had done a pre-record and I screwed up the audio. It's my bad, but it's your advantage. You're watching now, right? Hey, Rolo, just a simple thank you from across the ocean for all your work. Over the past years, I've become more and more red-pilled and have my life changed for the better. Thank you. Please go tell other people that, because apparently everybody on YouTube seems to think that all we do is just like give me your money. Give me your super chats. Yeah. So let's finish off the Lauren Southern narrative here. So now we're past the Great Southern Trendkill. I went and tried to be as meticulous as I possibly could with Aaron McCready. There's more to that, but a reason I pulled those 4 screen caps out for you today was because they coincide with everything that Lauren Southern has said in her last book about Andrew Tate. What she's leaving out is the part where she gives Tommy Robinson a blowjob. Now, Tommy is saying, has been on the recent one. I'm glad I get to do this now because Tommy recently has said that that it wasn't it was consensual sex and it wasn't a quote unquote rape because she was happy about it and they were kissing on each other the next morning, and that she seemed to be like, she has that, the after sex afterglow going on. And remember, this is like almost a decade ago, at least the incident, as far as I know. I think it was, I don't know if it was 2015, maybe it was 2017, 2018. So, memory being what it is, according to Aaron McCready, she also gave Tommy Robinson a Hummer. She also banged Paul Joseph Watson, apparently. And then I know that the camera guy, I forget the guy's name, is Cowlin or something like that, was the one who first reported that there was something going on between Tate and Lauren Southern as far back as like 2018, 2019, when she was trying to do this documentary, right? This alt-right documentary, and she needed funding, and Tate was the one that had the funding. And then she ended up getting all hot and bothered for Tate. Okay. I don't know for sure. I don't think Tate is going to want to bring this up, particularly considering the legal troubles he finds himself in right now. Now, before I continue, because I'm going to continue just a little bit. Actually, let me just finish this up. Here's the gist of it. During the summer of 2023, I was very deeply involved in planning my daughter's wedding. And it wasn't until I literally was just at the wedding rehearsal dinner when all this shit dropped about how Lauren and Brittany and Destiny were all in cahoots with this falsified, forged medical documents And they were hoping that I was going to incriminate myself. They were hoping that I was going to, now I know this for a fact, but at the time I didn't, but they were hoping I was going to make public anyways, these medical records so they could go, gotcha. And they probably would have reported my channel. They probably would have reported me on Twitter. That certainly would have got me banned on Instagram for all of this stuff, for producing medical records, even if they're falsified medical records. That's how they wanted to take me down. That's how they were going to get my scalp. Remember, they were after Donovan, they were after MLD, they were after Rich Cooper, they were after Mike Sartain, as a matter of fact. They sure as shit wanted to get Justin Waller because he was associated with me. They were looking to bring people down. That was, I don't know if there was a bounty on me from Progressive Victory, but it doesn't seem too far from it. Doesn't seem like too much of a stretch. But they were trying, essentially, they wanted the big kahuna. They wanted the Godfather, right? They wanted to bring me down. They wanted what? They wanted Gotti. That's who they wanted, right? If they couldn't get me, from my background because I was clean, then they had to make up some dirt. And that dirt was falsifying medical records to make me believe that there was some ultrasound that was actually a child that was produced between the two of them. I was just trying to find verification whether or not they had an affair. And so was Andrew Wilson at that time. Andrew was helping me out. We were trying to determine whether or not something was going on. I remember when during that time, before Andrew Wilson was Andrew Wilson, he would go on these panel shows and he'd be on there with Destiny. And the first thing out of his mouth was like, "Are you banging Lauren Southern?" I loved every minute of it. It was funny as hell. But the reason why he and Not So Erudite would run cover for him, but the reason why they would dodge that question so much is because it was true. Because they knew they didn't want to talk about it because he didn't want to have to go home and face Melina because he'd already faced Melina about it before. Melina confessed, or Melina confirmed anyways, that the whole thing about them like splitting up, part of that was the whole Lauren Southern thing. And Lauren Southern's supposed to be this dyed-in-the-wool, turn or burn Christian evangelical alt-right, Republican conservative. She can't be seen with Destiny. She can't have anything going on with the enemy. But here they were. Destiny was right along with it. Again, go read those leaks from Kiwi Farms. You'll see just how twisted that fuck was. And she was too. I'm speaking about her. Right? Just how twisted that whole situation was. They didn't want that becoming public. I was getting too close to the truth, and they wanted to find some way to minimize me, marginalize me, or just remove me from the playing board. And I'm glad that didn't happen. I was smart enough not to go and make those falsified reports public. Well, that was too much for them. So they'd made these things, and I'd hung on to these things throughout like the end of May, all through June, all through July, and they couldn't wait anymore. They knew I wasn't going to do it, so they might as well just come clean. And that's when they went and said, Rollo, you're an idiot. You have these things, and you like I didn't even say that I had these, but they were the ones that made them public, the falsified records public. I didn't. They did. To say, haha, we got you. We trolled you. And that's when everybody piled on, and that's when Brittany Venti jumped in, and that's when freaking Jer from the Quartering piled on, and Nerdrotic and Chrissy Mayer and all these people I thought were my friends, or I thought were going to be cool with me, Nope. Still no public apologies from any of these asshats. So just remember that next time you're listening to Jeremy from the Quartering, right? These guys don't care about it. They're not about it. They're about themselves. They're about their own goddamn. They're all brand. Every last one of them is all brand, and they'll pile on. They'll throw you under the bus as soon as smile at you. So just tell them to go fuck themselves. Seriously. So anyways, that happened right at the same time. I'm trying to enjoy one of the best days of my life with my daughter. I'm having to deal with these assholes. Right. And I'm pretty Teflon, but I'll tell you, man, I was stressed out because that's the whole damn thing. And everybody was piling on at the same time. And with the exception of, Sartain and Brian Stone and a few select others, man, I don't expect anybody to have my back. And with the exception of a notable few, that was exactly what happened. And I'm just, here I'm just going along to get along. All I can do is wait. And that's all I did was wait. And it took a year before we had confirmation about Destiny and Lauren. And now we have confirmation that who I was talking to was actually Aaron McCready, because she's admitting to everything that I just read to you is in her expose, is in her documentary, is in her whatever memoirs or whatever. She might as well be reading from Aaron McCready's conversations with me. But I was the asshole at the time, right? Oh, Rollo, you're accusing. You don't have any proof of that. I did. I had proof right here, but you didn't want to believe it. Still, people don't want to believe it now. I got these assholes going, how do you know that was for sure this guy? Here it is. Here's the documentation. Here's the restraining order. Here's the signal chats that are corroborated almost verbatim by Lauren in her book. And I should also point this out, that the book, parts of the book that she's making free and available online, you have to pay for the whole book, right? But you can read the parts about Tate for free, because those are the samples that she's passing out to everybody, so you'll buy the book. There's only one reason she does that. Okay? Because that she knows that that's what's going to sell the book, right? But in doing so, she corroborates everything I said throughout the better part of 2023. She's pretty much admitting Rollo was right. And I'm telling you right now, I'm just going to take my victory lap right at this moment. I was right. You fuckers were wrong. I'll wait for my apologies. Thank you very much. Now, that's that. I'm going to, let me see what it is. Let me see. It wasn't just the medical records, but it was also okay. But see, that was Brittany though. Okay. And the reason why she said I was troll, here's the thing about Brittany. The thing about Brittany is she wanted to pile on because she thought it was such a good troll that she was going to get me in some other way. The reason why Brittany jumped into all of this was she, I hate to have to even like reiterate this one more time because I have already done this video. So I'll do it again just for you, FYI, Bob. Here's what happened. I get these anonymous emails from Brittany Venti, who also confirmed was colluding with Lauren Southern and with Destiny at that time. Okay, so she's part of the whole Progressive Victory Twitch kid. And by the way, where is she now? No fucking where. Fat and pregnant somewhere in the backwoods of Texas somewhere. But the thing is when she was trying to troll me, she had hit me up from an anonymous account, from an anonymous email account, and she approached me as if she was an ex-boyfriend of herself, right? Of Brittany Venti. And she was saying, oh, yeah, you should go after Brittany, blah, blah, blah. This was at the same time. By the way, Brittany started before any of this happened, before any of the trolling emails happened. That was when Brittany started doing attack piece videos on me, saying I was wrong about who? Lauren Southern. Go, those videos still exist. You can still go to dig those up. Look for the attack piece videos that Brittany did on me. And those videos happened before the email trolling. Why was that happening? Why was she trying to troll me? And again, all of the videos in her attack piece videos were focused on one premise, that there was an illicit affair between Destiny and Lauren Southern. Why would she do that? To run cover for Lauren. That's why. It wasn't working. I was not forthcoming. I was not going to produce those medical forgeries. They knew that, so they had to find another attack vector. So what did they do? She goes and she creates this false account that she is her own and starts coming up with, oh, I'm Brittany's boyfriend. She's been doing all these attack piece videos on you. You should really go after her. I still have the emails today. So she's trying to get me to come after her, right? But through the guise of her being like some ex-boyfriend. We have this back and forth a little bit. And then during the course of that conversation, she says, I have nudes of her. Do you want these nudes? And I'm like, whatever, if you're going to produce them for me, okay, that's fine. I can use them and I said this, I said, I can use them as leverage like anybody else would have. And then in the next email, she says, oh, I think she's 17 in these. And I immediately said, no, I don't want them. I said, I'm not going to take underage anything from anybody. If you don't believe me, all you got to do is go ask Pearl Davis, because Pearl Davis was involved in all of this crap too, right? I can show you right now if you'd like. So what happens is she sends me this email, and what happened later on is she decided that she was going to do another attack piece video about these and say, haha, we got you, Rolo. Now, remember, that came out before the falsified medical documents came out, because they knew they couldn't get me on the false medical documents. So they had to find something else. And they thought they were going to get me with their freaking kitty porn shit. Okay. Now, I said, no, I don't want them. And I even showed you, if you would like the video, I will give you the link to where I refute all of this stuff. Hell, I was on with Red Pill Thor was on as well. Let me see. The reason Brittany no longer has her channel is because her ex-fiance no longer edits her videos. And you know, yeah, I do. Yeah, well, and that's true. And so what had happened was she wanted to, through the disguise of pretending to be an ex-boyfriend of hers, she knew that I wanted to go after her, but she was thinking that I was going to like fall for this thing. And then she pointed out, like made specific reference that she was 17 in these nudes, right? And as soon as she left this completely out of her videos, that the fact that I had refused them. In fact, I showed them to Jeremy from the quartering came after me for that. I showed him those videos. He didn't do any retraction, no nothing. And I showed him the videos. I showed him the emails. And I said, look, here's me turning her down. And this is when I stopped. I basically deleted everything from that person, which ended up becoming Brittany Venti. And then I didn't even know that until like a few days later that it was her. But the reason why she jumped in was because they knew that I wasn't going to produce the medical documents. They knew that I wasn't going to publicize those, because I'm not an idiot, right? I know what a HIPAA violation is. I know what the terms of service are for my channels. I'm not going to do that. And they knew that, and they were getting impatient. And so in that impatience, they come up with this new attack angle through Brittany Venti. That's what happened. And even to this day, like, where's Brittany Venti today? Nowhere. Dead in the water. Like, from the last thing I heard, someone sent me like I think it was a tweet or something like that of hers, how she was just basically retiring from everything. She was going back to go live with her mom or some shit like that. I have no idea. But that's it. And by the way, FYI, thank you for bringing that up so I could clear that air, because here's the thing is I already had this video too. I already put this out there in the summer of 2023. It was myself, Glenn Lawrence, and Red Pill Thor. That's why I got so pissed off with Glenn Lawrence when he decided that he thought that if Pearl gave me these nudes, that I was going to in some way be thankful for that. Like it was going to be some sort of olive branch. And again, if you don't believe that, I still have the screen caps of that and I can show them to you, but I don't want to put them on. I'd have to like blur out certain parts of them. But yeah, still got all of that documented, ready to go anytime. In fact, it'll be kind of fun. Essentially all I have to do is wait, man. All I have to do is wait and people will incriminate themselves. Here's Lauren Southern essentially admitting not only that that everything that Aaron McCready had said, that everything that I had done, everything that I had like exposed of her with my conversations with Aaron McCready back in April of 2023, all the way up through summer of 2023, confirmed. She confirms it herself. All that narrative, all that effort, all hiring a Photoshop editor to falsify these documents, all of that, like a fart in the wind. All of that confirms everything I said. It validates, first off, it validates Aaron McCready. It validates what I said. It validates the fact that they went to extreme efforts to try to ratio me, to try to keep that under, to it's what I call put squid ink into the water so people would be distracted. And even to this day, people will still not believe that. They'll still think that I was wrong and that I got trolled or whatever, because they just don't want to admit that they were wrong. And I'll tell you that the fiendish part about this is it's a law of power, and Destiny was right about it. Destiny is much more of a devious, malicious piece of shit than I gave him credit for back then. I underestimated his like level of fuckery back then, for sure. That both he and Lauren would go to that extreme to hide their affair. And then Kiwi Farms leaks come out. And now we have Lauren Southern basically almost verbatim confirming what Aaron McCready told me. So if that's the case, and we know that Lauren and Destiny wanted to cover up their affair to the point that they would enter into the politics of personal destruction to fuck with me and my channel and take my scalp and everything else and try to discredit me and put, like I said, squid ink into the water. They're willing to do that. Why on earth? Myron Gaines, Brian from whatever podcast, I don't give a flying fuck who you are. Why would you give these guys oxygen? They fucked with one of your best friends. Why would you do that? Confirmed, 100% vindicated. These guys did what I accused them of back then. Here it is, black and white, irrefutable proof. Oh no, we're going to go and talk about the Jews on Sean Kelly's show. Oh, we're going to have Destiny on. He's going to debate Andrew Wilson. Why? Why would you do that? If for no other reason, why? So that's number one. Number two is this. When I produced these screen caps that I just showed you a minute ago, when I produced these screen caps, I put them on Twitter when the story dropped that Lauren was doing a tell-all memoir book. And she essentially confirmed everything that was in those. Everybody thought those were forgeries. Oh, Rolo, how do we know these are for real, Rolo? Well, I'm telling you right now that they're for real because I've been harping on these things for 3 fucking years now. So that's number one. But the reason why they were so upset about the fact that I was producing these things is because it incriminates Tate. And my intent is not to incriminate Tate or not incriminate Tate. I'm clearing my fucking name. I don't care if Tate did what he did or he didn't do what he did. I don't care if Lauren's a liar or she's not a liar. If you ask me, you want my honest opinion? Yeah, she's a liar. She's willing to lie about she will go to the extent of producing falsified medical documents. Do you think she's incapable of producing a faked forged police record? Of course she is. She's a liar. She's a pathological liar. So if you want to ask me my personal opinion, whether or not, what she said happened, I'm of the opinion that she's already proven herself to be a pathological liar. So yeah, I'm going to take Tate's side on this one. Yeah, I think she's just doing this to get just sell more books, right? Or whatever it is. She wants attention. Hell, even Aaron McCready says that she just thrives on this shit. And by the way, I think Aaron McCready needs to get full 100% custody of her son, and her son should never be able to see her mom ever again. I think somebody should call CPS or whatever the equivalent is in Canada, take that kid away and give it 100% custody to Aaron McCready, especially after all of this. God, she's whack, absolutely whack. And every time I've seen her on, up until a year and a half ago, every time she'd been on Tim Pool, she's sucking down Chardonnays after Chardonnays. She's clearly an alcoholic. She clearly has ADHD. She's something wrong with her. But she's a mom, right? She's got her wedding ring on. It means she's a good trad mom, right? That's what you want to believe, right? But my intent was not to burn Tate, but that's what everybody thought. Now, the only reason you're putting these out there is because you want to attack Tate. I don't give two flying fucks about Tate or Lauren Southern, quite honestly, but I do give a fuck about clearing my name from a very stressful time, from a very elaborate hoax, from a very elaborate narrative twisting, from dodging multiple bullets during 2023. At the same time, I'm trying to plan my daughter's wedding. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm going to go and clear my name. And I don't care if you could think I'm burning Tate. I'm not burning Tate whatever at all. In fact, I'll say it right now. I think she's the liar and Tate's the one that's in the right at least in this instance. Because if you're going to ask me whether or not Lauren Southern's a liar, she's a liar. She's proven liar. Destiny, proven liar. All you got to do is look at the Kiwi Farms leaks. He's a liar. He's lied his ass off during 2023. Lie after lie after motherfucking lie, man. In fact, I was somebody sent me like some old videos of her like trying to talk shit about some guy who was asking about their. It was a video, and it wasn't even Andrew Wilson. It was somebody else who had asked her about like her affair with Destiny, and she was like, "I can't believe you guys keep asking me that, man. It's like I never fuck him." Blah blah blah. She's essentially like every word that came out of her mouth in that video confirmed 100% lie. She is a liar. So if you think that I'm burning Tate, I'm not. That wasn't my intent. But I will say this is like, if you're going to ask me if I think who's right and who's wrong, definitely she's wrong and he's right in this instance. And even Tommy Robbins was saying the same thing. So if I'm going to take sides, I'm going to definitely take Tate's side in this one. So just to let you guys know, because I know you guys are on Team Tate or Team Southern or whatever the fuck it is, because that's the only thing that like you jerk off to. So there you go. If there's any questions about that, I am more than willing to field those questions. So there you go. Okay. What time is it? Okay, we're doing all right. Okay. Guys, remember this dude? Because this happened.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Yeah, they were having an affair. Oh my God. Okay, so CEO astronomer Andy Byron, married with 2 kids, caught cozying up with CPO of Astronomer. They're both Astronomer. They work there. Now, since then, he has stepped down as the CEO of Astronomer. I guess that's a magazine or something. Kristen Cabot, that's the CPO, on the Jumbotron at a Coldplay concert in Boston last night. If you haven't seen this, what rock have you been under? And there are so many memes of this right now that it's just like it's horrid. Yes, I've seen the one. Don't ask me, because I'll just tell you right now. I've seen the one with James Hetfield and Dave Mustaine. Stop it! You can stop sending me that meme now. I got it. Ha ha. Okay, let's move on. That's why I told Kyle. I said, "See, this is why I listen to Slayer and not Coldplay." You will never see that happen at a Slayer concert. It's too much going on. What are you doing at a Coldplay concert? Is Coldplay even have they put out any new music since what, 2009? Oh my God. And they're just loving on each other. And so anyways, I wanted to also, where did I put it? Oh, here it was. Wait a minute. Everybody was talking about, no. It was in my Instagram. Oh, anyways, I'll just give you the short version of it. Everybody was talking about how the CEO guy he should step down. Even Matt Walsh, everybody. Whenever something like this happens, whenever there's here's bird hands, I can't help it, man. I'm just sorry, Math. Whenever you see something like a high profile thing like this that goes viral, there's a dude who's like cheating on his wife. He's literally caught red-handed. Nobody talks about the chick, the CPO girl. Like nobody cares about the girl, the female. Nobody cares about the female's, like the wife's husband. They only focus on the chicanery of the guy, and he should step down. And I want to point this out is that there have been some instances of political scandals, sex scandals with female politicians, and they never step down. They never really lose face. It's only high-powered, high-status men who, if they can't keep their dicks in their pants, it's career-ending for them. And honestly, there's been this kind of back and forth whether or not the guy should like have stepped down or whatever. I'm like, why? Is he not able to perform his job function as well now? And of course, the reason is because popular opinion in a gynocentric social order will demand his head. They won't demand that she lose. You'll notice she hasn't lost her job as CPO. He did as CEO, and he's gone. And by his own stepping down, which probably happened as a result of the board of directors getting together and say, bro, you got to step down. And you'll notice that, like, I know what it was. I forget was it Andrew, was it Cuomo? I forget which guy, during COVID, there was a guy, and I want to say it was Cuomo, who was responsible, or like he was implicated anyways, in the deaths of a lot of elderly people in assisted living. Was it Cuomo? Mario Cuomo? One of those guys, one of those Cuomo guys. Okay. Somebody will come up with it. It was a guy, he was was he a mayor or governor of, I think he was the governor of New York, and was implicated in the deaths, Andrew Cuomo, thank you, was implicated in the deaths of like dozens, if not like 50, was it 50? I forget how many it was, in the deaths of some elderly people in assisted living center, governor of New York. Yeah. And then and then the chick took over, the woman took over. But it wasn't that he stepped down for. It was a sex scandal. So what does that tell you? That we value, or that we think that it's a more serious crime anyways, for a man to be caught in a sex scandal and cheating on his wife than it is for being responsible, or at least implicated in responsibility, of the deaths of a dozen or so, maybe more than that, elderly people in an assisted living. So a sex scandal, sex infidelity, that you step down for. But if you kill motherfuckers, like old elderly people, or being responsible for killing them in, COVID era, assisted living, that's not something you step down for. But if you get caught in a sex scandal, you do. That's how important we think sex is. So when people call, they go, Rolo, all you guys ever talk about is sex. Well, yeah, because apparently you guys think it's that fucking important. It's important enough that only the CEO of Astronomer has to step down as a result of his philandering, screwing around, but not the CPO, not that chick. We don't even you probably couldn't even remember her name if I hadn't just read it half a second ago. So the deaths of those basically committed is that what it is? Okay, let me throw that on. Basically committed mass murder, but had to step down for being too Italian. Yes, thank you. That's how serious we want to hold men responsible for keeping it in your pants. You can kill elderly, you can kill grandma, but keep your dick in your pants. You can be responsible for the deaths of elderly and assisted living, but keep it in your pants. Then you can keep your job. That's how fucked up this is. And you wonder why the red pill makes enemies on the right and on the left. This is I don't know how else to put it. Yes, thank you. Sex is everything. I know what it was. I got accused of saying, I know it was. I answered this tweet from this guy who I guess is a Catholic father or Catholic priest. He was very anti-Tate because Tate put out something about how monogamy isn't natural. Now, I did disagree with Tate on this and I'll explain to you why. It's actually one of the topics on my list here to get into today. But he was saying, it's always about power for these guys. And I'm like, you're goddamn right, it's about power. You guys make it about power. The very fact that your title is father means it's about power. Like, how do you not see? The reason you don't see that is because you live in a gynocentric social order and you're rewarded for reinforcing the female experience. Love, compassion, kindness. But when somebody comes up and says, like me, and says, well, apparently you can kill motherfuckers in assisted living, but if you get your dick wet you get a tug job from some Thai hooker and, at a massage parlor, then that's something you step down for. And who took over? That crazy bitch from, I forget her name. Was it Jay Inslee? What's the fuck is her name? Anyway, they replaced him with a woman. Like appointed governor, the appointee governor. Don't worry. She can't step down. She doesn't have a penis. That Hoculi, thank you. She can't be ousted. She can go and have an affair all she wants. She could be a cougar. Whatever the hell she wants to. Nobody, but she's just doing what you boys do. Same thing here. Same thing with this shit.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what?
Yep, he goes away and she sticks around. That's the only thing that brings down guys, by the way. You wanna bring somebody down, it's gotta be a sex scandal. It's gotta be some sort of sexual impropriety. It's the only thing that works. But I was gonna say, where did it go? So let me I probably should put this one up here too, because people got all up in my grill for this one. There it is. All right. So if you think that this is actually Andrew Tate tweeting this, you are very much, I have a bridge to sell you. This is Tate on monogamy, by the way. And this was the full post here. Let's see if I can push that up a little bit. That doesn't really make it any bigger. Hang on. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. Okay. So here's what Tate was saying. And this is what I had to sort of like answer the father Catholic guy about. Monogamy is not natural for men. Okay, so I want to point out that this is not the kind of language that Tate uses, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Monogamy is not natural for men. Now, anytime somebody uses the term natural, it's the naturalistic fallacy. Okay, anything natural is naturally good. Anything not natural is bad. Not necessarily. Okay, that's the naturalistic fallacy. But this has been thrown my way so many times. I can't even remember how many times I had to feel this. Like, Rollo, what do you think is more natural, monogamy or promiscuity or polygamy, whatever, right? And my answer to that is both. Both can be true at the same time. Well, both can be true within the same species. Let's put it that way. Because monogamy benefits human beings, and promiscuity also benefits human beings. Just depends on what your perspective happens to be. If it's Andrew Tate, then maybe polygyny, whatever you want to call it, benefits you more. So let me move on here. Where'd it go? Andrew Tate. Okay. Statistically, only 20 to 30% of men have ever reproduced, while 80 to 90% of women have reproduced. Okay. So what he's doing is he's drawing this from a particular study. And I'm going to show you what that study is. And the reason why he's pulling this up, and it sounds like he's pulling it out of his ass, is because he basically is. But it's not Andrew Tate that's doing this. This is his PR team that's trying to make a viral tweet to do some engagement farming. That's really all it comes down to. And there is a PS magazine, I should say, Pacific Standard, the blog magazine, back in when was this? March of 2015, of all places. This is where this is derived from, and I'll show it to you here. It's a report that's, because we've plotted the human genome, this is where he's kind of getting this from. But let me I'm going to share this tab here. Okay, so this is where I actually have used this before. 8,000 years ago, 17 women reproduced for every one man. It's actually worse than 20 to 30%, Tate. So this is an analysis of modern DNA uncovers a rough dating scene after the advent of agriculture. This is where this all sort of is produced from. And essentially it says, once upon a time, 4,000 to 8,000 years ago, after humanity invented agriculture, something very strange happened to human reproduction. Across the globe, for every 17 women who were reproducing, passing on genes that are still around today, only one man did the same. Okay, it wasn't like there was a mass death of males. They were there. So what were they doing? Asks Melissa Wilson Sayers, a computational biologist at Arizona State University, party school, and a member of a group of scientists who uncovered this moment in prehistory by analyzing modern genes. Another member of the research team, a biological anthropologist, hypothesizes that somehow only a few men accumulated lots of wealth and power, leaving nothing for others. Okay, this is the premise that Tate is using. He doesn't, like, if you asked him, where did you get this from? He wouldn't know. But this is where he picked it up from, because this is where I picked it up from, and he picks everything up from me. So these men could then pass on their wealth to their sons, perpetuating this pattern of elitist reproductive success. Then, as more thousands of years passed, the numbers of men reproducing compared to women rose again. Maybe more and more people started being successful, right? Wilson Sayers says, in a recent history, a global average of about 4 or 5 women reproduce for every one man. Okay, so that ended up balancing itself out. Now, you're never going to hear that from Andrew Tate. Let me put this back here. Get it? There we go. Now we're back to this one. Okay. So that's where that is. That's where that comes from. I'll be the first one to show you where that comes. I know where the bodies are buried. There's a body. Let me go dig it up for you. Okay. That's where he's pulling this from. But he's not pulling it from there because he would never be able to tell you where he got his stats from because he's not a statistician. He's Andrew Tate. Okay. And he's not even the one that's doing the tweeting here. This is his PR team. This is whoever his handlers are when it comes to his Twitter profile. Okay. Women were always sharing kings and discarding the serfs. Until there were more serfs and then there were fewer kings. So if you ever read the book Alpha God by Dr. Hector Garcia, he points this out. This is not just a human thing. This is a primate thing. Throughout history, kings, shamans, tribal leaders, dynastic emperors of China, they all shared pretty much 3 factors in common. That was they all had resources, they all had territory, and they all had access to preferably virgin women, like harems. Okay. So you had, like, say, the emperors of Rome. They had their harems. In China, it was the Forbidden City, guarded by eunuchs. They literally would cut the dicks off of the guards to make sure that they weren't inseminating the chicks in the harem. Same thing happened with tribal chiefs in the Amazon rainforest. Same thing with Polynesian, Native American. You name it. If you're higher up on the status, you got access to more bitches, and you have access to. Now, granted, you got to protect those things, and you got to be able to protect your territory. You've got to be able to ensure your resources. Of course, territory and resources are sort of synonymous with each other. But those were the things that defined a powerful man over the course of history. The problem with that logic that Tate is talking about here is there's only a handful of those guys, a very small percentage of them. And then by order of degree down until there's the serfs. Okay. Now, remember, you can talk about the 20 to 30% of guys who are, in this case, it's 1 for every 17, but then that balances itself out. I mean, still, it's skewed in favor of women, but remember, it's 4 to 5 per 1 now and not 17 to 1 now. And remember, this is from a study I've been using since 2015. So there might be updated data since then. Okay. But essentially, he's not particularly wrong. It's just he's wrong on the data, or his team is wrong on the data. Okay. Beta settle with 1 and cope that it's what they want to do, when in reality they're forced due to lack of options, societal pressure, and the woman threatening to leave them. That is true. They are enraged that better men's women tolerate something their girl won't, and they see it's about the differences in girls. And then when it's actually the difference in the men, women break rules for winners and make rules for losers. Really? Wait.
You're goddamn say right. My name.
Right there.
Say my name.
Really, guys? Really? Should I read that again? Let me read that again. Women break rules for winners and make rules for losers. That sounds an awful lot like women break rules for alphas and they make rules for betas. You just can't say alpha and you just can't say beta, because if you did, well, then you'd have to
say my name.
Yes. You guys can't even be original in your lifting of material. If your woman leaves you for having another girl, she simply thinks you're a bitch. Okay. That same woman happily shares a real man. That sounds an awful lot like Pook saying women will share a successful alpha rather than be saddled with a faithful beta. I wonder who has quoted Pook in the past. I wonder who even knows the name of Pook from the Soslov era. But let's continue. She did before she met you. Then you wifed her up. Ha ha. LOL. The one husband, one wife lie is a satanic. Now we're gonna bring Satan into. We're gonna bring Satan into all of this. Satanic control, purposed. Of course, maybe this is what triggered that Catholic priest. Purpose mechanism, a lie spread as a disease across Western culture to mitigate societal disruption from inferior, low-quality men who wouldn't be able to get a wife otherwise. Or you could eliminate the whole Satan thing and say, well, it's really a product of selective evolution. But that would be satanic. Okay. Why do we always, it must be the devil. That's what gets me is like, whenever they'll probably lift this line, but I'll give it to you anyways. Scientists and the scientific method, the scientific community is always shocked to come home early from work and find Mother Nature fucking the mailman. They're always shocked. I can't believe this. The same thing's true for believers and the religious set as well. Because if I say, well, no, it's not necessary. You don't need to bring religion into this. Oh, of course we do. Is it the only reason we'd be talking about this is to find out what's good and what is evil, so we can fight the evil and then we can praise the good. Okay, it's a satanic control, just so you know. After pairing weak men with wives then they can't leave or they're destroyed in court, they psyop the women. It's fiendish psychological operation. The women with media to control this and subjugate the men. Well, yeah, but they've been doing that really since 1848 in Seneca Falls, Tate. Before you know it, they are walking around IKEA on a Sunday choosing curtains instead of taking their country back from invaders. There you go. Now we're back. Man, we are hitting all the bait. We've hit all the bases. We got Satan. We got the, let's see, with the Great Replacement. What else? They're engaging in swinging for wives' satisfaction instead of putting their enemies to the sword. Really. COVID was simply scared women barking at their compliant husbands. Women are easy to psyop. Society forces men to marry them so they can destroy masculine imperative resistance. Okay, this is like so flippin' long. Essentially what this is and you got to love how it's like he's got like two blonde bits. I've never seen him with these blonde chicks before in my life, but these are the shots of him and his kids that he I'm assuming these are his kids. I don't know that they're his kids. But I know I think he has a son. I don't know. But the funny thing about all this is that nobody even knew that he had kids until he got arrested. But they opened up a can of worms here. And the can of worms is this, and I think this is the broader discussion that everybody wanted to jump into, is what's the difference between monogamy and poly, right? People would ask me and they would say, well, Rollo, what do you think is the natural state of human beings? Because people want to say monogamy. Like if you ask Matt Walsh, he's going to tell you the natural state of human beings, of men and women is monogamy. And it's the bedrock of society and it's the cornerstone of Western civilization. And you're right. It is. It is absolutely monogamy is a natural state of human beings. So is polygamy. So is promiscuity. Absolutely, it is. Shall I show you why it is? I'll give you the long and the short of it here. Let's see if I can grab this out of my bookmarks here. Oh, we got to get to Mac and Murphy at some point too. I forgot about that. Oh, I know what it was. It was in some female nature. So it's in my female nature thing here. Here we go. Thank you, Rob Henderson. I think I'll just do a screen cap, or I'll show you the screen here. This is from a book, and the book is titled, what was the title of this? It's called Eve, How the Female Body Drove 200 Million Years of Human Evolution. It is a hardcover. It's been out since October of 2023. I thought this was an interesting take on promiscuity. Okay. So is promiscuity a natural state of human beings? Yes, that's also true. So is monogamy. So is promiscuity. If you want to say polygyny, then you could say polygyny too. But let's show you why. Where's the screen? Let's see. Oh, is that it? Yeah, here we go. Okay. Can you guys see that? I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here for you. Okay, this part right here from... Okay, Rob Henderson. This is actually a quote from the book. Promiscuity was a strategy. In all of our closest primate cousins, chimps, bonobos, even orangutans, promiscuity has a clear purpose for the female. She's not just getting her rocks off. She's making sure that no local male knows who the father is. So would promiscuity would that have been something in our evolutionary past that would have been advantageous to reproduction? And the answer is yes. That's evidence. That's evidence number one. Exhibit A. Put me back in. That's Exhibit A. The other thing is this: is biological. Now that's Evo Psych, Evo Bio. You essentially it's trying to understand why promiscuity would exist in the first place. Now here's the other thing. Let's go to Evo Bio. Okay, not Evo Psych, Evo Bio. Okay, we already know that this, we picked up on this, I think, back in 2018, 2017. One of the great things about figuring out plotting the human genome, and at least, related science anyways, is that we've discovered that, remember the book Sperm Wars? We used to think there was different kinds of sperm. There was the runners and the fighters and the blockers and stuff like that. Completely false. Because it's not the sperm that's the changing, that's the variable. It's the egg that's the variable. And the reason why they couldn't figure that out is because they didn't know that the human ovum, female ovum, produces proteins that either slow or allow a sperm to reach the egg quicker. So essentially what the female ovum is doing is it is selecting between sperm that it wants to be impregnated by and doesn't, and there's no consciousness to this, by the way, but like there's a selective process that happens for let's just say a more compatible sperm rather than an incompatible sperm. And this is done through a series of proteins. So it looks like one sperm is swimming faster than the other because it is, because it's not inhibited by the proteins or whatever it is that the egg is giving off to slow down the sperm from one man and to increase the motility of the sperm from another man. So there's an evolutionary adaptation for female ovums that technically select for more compatible versus less compatible sperm. Okay. So what it's doing is it's taking two different sperm at the site of conception and deciding this is the one that I want to be more likely to inseminate this egg rather than to this inferior one, I guess, or this less compatible one. Let's just say, I don't want to say inferior because we're implied that's a judgment call. A more compatible versus a less compatible. Okay. That only happens if there are sperm at the site of conception by two different men. So with that in mind, is promiscuity natural for human beings? Yes, it is, because promiscuity had to have been, at least in some way, an evolutionary adaptation that was beneficial to even human females. You can say it's easy for guys because guys want to ejaculate and evacuate, right? That's simple. But why would it be an evolutionary advantage for females? Well, as I was saying, if you read that book, anyways, the female body, having the uncertainty whether or not that the child is yours means less of a likelihood of infanticide on the part of the more dominant alpha male, right? Especially in primates. So why would there be an adaptation, an evolutionary adaptation to select between competing sperm from two competing men if there was never going to be two in there in the same place, right? So that kind of confounds the whole monogamy thing. So the answer is both. They are both correct. Okay. Let me see. Anybody got something to say about that? Okay. So the thing is, though, is I'm of the like you can have all of the the problem with the whole Tate situation, or the whole, again, it's not even Tate, but with the whole sort of mythologizing all of this, or religiousizing this, or whatever it is it doesn't do anybody any favors in understanding it. Oh, we're going to fight the invaders and put them to the sword. You guys need to be men. Well, guess what, man? 80% of guys are still going to be beta chumps, no matter what you tell them that they're going to do, because it's just simply not in their DNA. Okay. There's going to be guys who are more motivated, and you motivate guys who are like, less likely to want to go and put the invaders to the sword, right? Yeah, but you're talking. The thing is like, this is like not even 20th century like mythologizing. This is like 12th century, 10th century mythologizing. And we live in a different time, in a different society right now. And do I necessarily disagree with that? No, but I'm just saying, like stop hearkening back to this romanticized era, and like start looking for 21st century solutions to this, instead of these appeals to, this romantic age that doesn't exist anymore. But that's not even half the problem. Then you're going to take that and you're going to combine that with reproduction. Because I'll run you up the flagpole for that. I'll tear you apart for that. Monogamy is a natural state of human beings. So is promiscuity or polygyny too, especially for powerful men. Remember, resources, territory, and access to a harem, preferably virgins, but not always. If you watch Vikings, if you know anything about my people, we didn't care if you're a virgin. We just wanted to breed. It didn't matter if you were the town bicycle, or you were just, fresh out of the church. It didn't mean anything to us. We just wanted to breed. That's what's funny, is like different cultures like have different, like, maybe it's just me, but like have different attitudes toward that kind of stuff. Remember, Viking cultures, or like I say Norse cultures, they would this is well documented. They would pass around like a communal plate of water, and they'd spit in it, and they'd wash their faces in it. They wash their mouth out and spit it back in, and they'd pass it around the group. And people think, oh my God, that's insanity. It's gross. No, it would actually help in creating resistances for pathogens that were common amongst the tribe itself. So it actually had a purpose. It seems like really sick and gross, but it's actually has a point to it. Now, that seems like really disgusting, and kind of is in modern parlance, but back then it was a ritual. They didn't even know why they did it, but it had the purpose of creating mutual resistance to pathogens. It helped your ability to fight off the disease, right? That was common to the whole tribe. Build up your tolerance to it, I guess, So, but again, remember, a lot of the stuff that we think of as myth actually had a very scientific, very empirical purpose to it. We just called it magic, right? Or it was just the way we do it. Here, your turn with the bull. Yeah, pretty disgusting, right? But if it built up your immunities, then that's all that mattered. So anyways, I just wanted to point out that, first off, you're lifting like, can I get a reach around at least for the, women make rules for beta, or make rules for alpha, or betas and break rules for alpha? I think we know where that comes from. Anybody who reads that knows where that came from. But again, I'm not looking for credit here. I'm just like saying, like, you're not helping. Like, I understand what it is. It's meant to agitate, but it's like based on false premises and based on bad science, or I should say old science anyways. So even the stats that he's quoting there, which are inaccurate to begin with, even the stats that he's quoting there, he doesn't know the source that they come from. I do. So then what happens? Rollo has to pipe up. Rollo has to pop off, right? Rollo has to say shit about Well, here's where he's getting this from. And if I go and do that, then suddenly I'm against hate and I'm for the invaders coming into that. That should be put to the sword, right? Because it's always a team sport. It's always binary logic. Oh, okay, Joe. This looks pretty good. Let me see if I can read this for you. Question. See, I will actually answer questions that aren't super chats. But please super chat. And you know what? Before I answer this, please do me a favor and give me a reach around here, okay? And where did it go? Damn it. Media assets. Give me a reach around and like and subscribe to the channel. You know why I'm asking you guys to do this? It used to be that liking and subscribing to the channel didn't do anything or didn't help in the algorithm whatsoever, but it definitely does now. Apparently, people keep asking me this, and they were wondering why is it that that Rolo subscribers are going down. One answer to that is YouTube actually deletes inactive or spam accounts, of which a lot of people want to spam my channel. So it could be just a culling on the part of YouTube. Now, the other part of this is YouTube has quietly changed their algorithm. So it's not enough just to get a view. I can't just click on the view and then, oh, I got a view. I could technically have hundreds of thousands of views on my videos. But the thing is, they have to be qualified views now. What makes a qualified view? You have to click on it. You have to watch it for a certain amount of time, and then you have to and or comment on the video. So if you clicked on it and you commented on it, that's an engaged view. That's what they want. And the reason why they're doing this is because there's been such a saturation of shitty AI slop, faceless videos that get upvoted and upvoted and upvoted, like because they're paying for clicks, they're paying for likes, they're paying for views, so that it gets boosted in the algorithm, it gets boosted in impressions, and YouTube has now cracked down on faceless video or faceless channels right now because they're just mass produced and they're just inundating YouTube right now, and I'm glad for it. But the thing is that you get caught up in the culling yourself. So please like the video, subscribe to this channel. I've never asked anybody to do that, and I will try to not do it as often as I need to, but now it matters. So please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't liked anything, you have to click a like on something. That's an engaged view. If you watch it and then you comment on it, that's an engaged view. So it's like YouTube is only, and I guess this is only until they fix something else, this is the only way they can do this for the time being, is if you watch the show or you watch this channel, and I know we're 2 hours and 26 minutes into the show right now, but if you watch the show, comment or do a super chat, or you have to engage with it other than just clicking on it and watching it for like 30 seconds and then moving on. That's not considered a view anymore, because that's how faceless channels and AI slop gets upvoted in the old version of the algorithm. The new version of the algorithm is that you have to have somebody like view it, comment, view it, like it, view it, something, right? There has to be another point of engagement besides just clicking on it. And that's just how they're running it right now. So if you're wondering, how come Rolo doesn't have more subscribers or more views on these things? I possibly could. It's just that they're not engaged views, meaning that people might have watched for 30 minutes and then just moved on to the next video. But that's not that doesn't get counted as a view. You actually have to engage in some way with the video so that they know a real live human being is behind the actual view of it. I hate that it's that way, but that's just how it is. So please like the video, comment on it, give me a super chat, give me just a chat. I don't care. But you have to be engaged in it for it to count as an actual view. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. So there you go. What did you say? Oh, there it is. Okay, this is the good one. Question: if most men are beta chumps, is it actually in their DNA or is it a social effect? If you go by, I'll read the rest of your thing in a minute. If you go by the 4 laws of genetic behaviorism, yes, it is actually in the DNA, or 80% of it is DNA. It also depends on the environment and circumstances for those particular qualities to be expressed. And unfortunately, in a gynocentric social order, that's pretty easy to do. In your previous books, you mentioned that being an alpha is a mindset, not a demographic. Yes. Are beta men not able to socialize into alpha behaviors due to genetics? So which holds true? Again, I think there's a natural you've probably seen guys who are like quote unquote natural alphas, right? Guys who are naturally extroverted, guys who are naturally I don't know, physical, I guess. I don't know whatever you're going to call an alpha trait. Personality is determined by your parents, more or less. However, that's not to say that there aren't like circumstances and let's just say environments that foster those things or repress those particular things. It's the Mozart effect. Okay, Mozart and Eddie Van Halen, for example, share one thing in common. They have a natural ability for music. And they also shared a common environment, which was they came from a family of musicians themselves. And in that particular family, that was fostered and promoted and rewarded. Now, if those same two individuals had been born into different families where it was repressed, you can't play music. Society says you're not supposed to play music. The Lord says you're not supposed to play, whatever it is. If it's repressed, the likelihood of you becoming Eddie Van Halen or Sebastian Bach or Mozart or whatever is less likely. So there's an environmental effect, but it doesn't necessarily change the natural propensity or proclivity. It just represses the behaviors that are associated with that proclivity. So that's what I would suggest that you do is you read Steve Stewart Williams. He has a really good series on this. It's called The 4 Laws of Genetic Behaviorism. Now, does that mean it's set in stone? No, not necessarily. Can you learn to be more alpha? Yes, absolutely you can. How do I prove that? All you got to do is go to, like, if you go to a boot camp, a military boot camp, especially during like Vietnam, their job was to turn behavioralism was used to turn kids who are 18 who would never pull a trigger on anybody to turn them into cold-blooded killers, and was very successful at doing that. Whether it was World War I, World War II, Korean conflict, Vietnam, whatever, can you behaviorally condition somebody to become more alpha, to become a cold-blooded killer, even though it's not necessarily in their nature to do so? Absolutely, you can. Necessity sometimes dictates the behaviors of other people. And can that become normal? Yes, anything can become normal. So is it a mindset? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a mindset. Can you change your nature from sort of this more passive beta alpha guy or passive beta guy to a more alpha mindset? Absolutely, you can. But if you're born alpha, it's much easier to become alpha. If you are born beta, then you got an uphill battle because you don't have a natural proclivity to it. Can you change your behavior? Can you change your outlook as a result? By necessity, yes. You want to know why guys come back with PTSD? Because their personality was fundamentally changed by circumstances, having live ammunition fired at them. Right? When guys go off on, I'm using the military, but there's other ways that this can happen. But like if you want to change somebody's personality with external stresses and prompts, PTSD is an easy example of this. You can change a person's personality through their circumstances. So yes and no, but again, it's like sort of the fallacy of the natural. Like a guy who, this guy's just a natural. He naturally gets good. He was born. He won the genetic lottery. Yeah, he did. And his looks are definitely a force multiplier, but he still has to go through the same process that you do. It's just that he has the advantage. He gets a head start. You just have to go through the motions little by little and learn those lessons that he had to learn that are easier for him to learn because he has a natural proclivity for it. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn those same lessons. So maybe that helps explain it to you. There you go. You can actually give me super chats. Yeah, I love that. Napoleon was 5'4", emperor of Europe, and he was pining for Josephine, a bitch who wouldn't return his love. Mm-hmm. Thanks for that reminder, Kingsguard. You can stop spamming the chat now. Was he alpha? Was Napoleon alpha? I don't, in every other aspect of his life, he probably was. Today's show is sponsored by Devil Mountain Coffee, which is no longer in business. I bought a pound of this coffee. It is now going for like $65 or $75 a pound on like eBay. I have to like find Devil Mountain Coffee on eBay. If you have some, please send it to me. Okay, so that's that. Let's see, monogamy versus. Okay, and I got to the astronomer guy now. I want to point out once again, astronomer guy, whatever his name, Andy something or other, had to resign from astronomy.com or magazine or whatever it is. I don't think he should have. I think he should have told these guys to go pound salt, to be honest with you, but whatever. The thing is like whenever something like this happens, now here's the follow-on effect, the downstream effect of this is whenever something like this, a high profile guy gets caught cheating, gets caught red-handed, that's when the tradfluencers come out in force. That's when the Matt Walshes come out and they got to get, I'm going to, excuse me, everybody off of the podium now. Everybody get off the pedestal here. Because what they're going to do is they're going to say, I would never. Baby, I could never. Look, I'm a better man than him because I would never cheat on my wife, right? And like, I am celebrating like 29 years of marriage with my wife. I've never cheated on my wife. Never will cheat on her because it's just I don't have any reason to. I have plenty of opportunity, but I don't have any reason. And whenever you see like they just came out of the woodwork, right? Oh, I could never do something like that. Oh, this guy, always Matt Walsh. What was it? Cheaters should be sent to prison. Cheaters and they should have the death penalty, or they should have 20 lashes. And I'm like, well, what qualifies as cheating? Is it having your arms around some chick at a Coldplay concert? Or is it your dick in her vagina? I'd like to know. Because nobody wants to answer. Because if you ask women, it could be like an emotional affair is cheating. If you're jerking off to porn, is that cheating? If I don't know, if you don't do what your wife says often enough, or you hell, you could have a financial infidelity. You don't give your wife any money. Like there's so many ways of like splitting hairs here, and I'm like, and then who gets to decide that? Is it the state, or is it the church, or is it Matt Walsh who gets to decide that? How many lashes do I get for taking pictures with Christiana Sin at the white party at Babes in Toyland in Miami? She's not my wife. I love her to death. She's great. Christiana's awesome. So is Ashton Banks. I was with her too. Not gorgeous black chick. Should I be, how many lashes? 5 lashes for that? How about 5 lashes for Ashton? Because she's not a porn, well, technically not a commercial porn star. And then 10 lashes or 20 lashes for Christiana Sin is because impropriety. Like what qualifies? That's what I would like to know. Or is it just because if that's the case, then Andy should not have stepped down, because we don't know for a fact that his dick was in her cooter. Is that what it is? Please tell me, because in the Bible, if you just look at a woman and sin, then lust after her in your heart, then you've committed adultery. Oh, I guess you're man, I'm going to get 20 lashes every goddamn day if that's the case. Like, what is it? Like, how are we going to split that? Who's going to split that difference? No one. So shut the fuck up, Matt. The only reason these guys pop off about this is because they want a white knight for their own wives, or they want a white knight for their constituency or their followership or whatever the hell it is. I could never. No, you could. You just don't have the opportunity. That's all. I bet if I took Matt Walsh and I brought him to Babes in Toyland in August, coming up soon, if you'd like to come on the Reignite trip, please do. The link is below. August 12th through the 15th. Bring him to Babes in Toyland in Las Vegas for swim week. I guarantee you he will look upon a woman with lust in his heart, and therefore he's guilty of adultery. I can more or less 100% guarantee that. But so what's the difference, right? That's one of the things I was going to say is, and I wanted to sort of end the show on this a little bit, is that I listen to people, or I read people like Mac and Murphy talking about how, the rich, what was it? Where is it? The poorest quintiles of men and the richest quintiles of women are both now hyperandrous, men marrying up in income. That was one of his lines today. That wasn't the one I wanted to look up, though. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. And then Brad Wilcox has to pile on. High income men overwhelmingly marry stay-at-home wives. No, Brad, they make them stay-at-home wives because they earn enough money. Percentage of men with wife who earns less than 5% of the household income and less than $15,000. If you look at his actually, let me just, this is too much. I got to put this up here. I love how we try to twist numbers. It's amazing how we're going to try to like get everybody to on board with the marriage imperatives here. Now, this is funny because it's Mac and Murphy reposting very religious Brad Wilcox here. And of course, this all comes from the Institute for Family Studies, which is an evangelical think tank, just to let everyone else know. But high status men are attracted to ambitious women, right? That's the thing. What qualifies a guy as high status? Is it money? Is that how we measure high status? Because I can tell you right now that like there's a lot of guys I know with a lot of money that people would say that guy's not high status. He's not a real alpha. Is Andrew Tate high status? Some people say no, he's a low life. He's a low life. Makes a lot of money, or he has made a lot of money in the past. Does that not put him as high status men? Why is he not attracted to ambitious women? Because that's the thing, is we're like, what qualifies as high status? What qualifies as quote unquote ambitious women? Ambitious in the sense that like what is it? Well, I know what it was. High status versus well-educated. So let me see if for a second here, like if I'm college educated, my wife she's went to tech school anyways. I mean, I would say my wife is not ambitious, but like, yeah, I think one of the things that we want to do is we want to like create our own sort of narratives by these descriptors. Okay. So, and I make more than my wife. I retired my wife. In fact, if you look at the, where is it? That one. That one. There we go. Okay. If you look at, where is it? This one. High income men overwhelmingly marry stay-at-home wives. Well, let me explain something to you right now, Brad Wilcox. When I married my wife, I did not make anything like the money she did. She was like I said, a medical professional, and I was working as an adjunct faculty teacher at a community college. We got married. And let me just say that an X-ray tech, a CT tech, was making a lot more money than the adjunct faculty member at a local community college. Now, did I start making more money than her later? Yes, but just marginally. Okay, by 10,000, maybe 20,000, in some cases $50,000 more. Right, just depend. As I sort of came up in the ranks, let's just say, because my wife told me from day one that she saw potential in me. And she was right. She had made a good bet. 4 years ago, just 4 years ago. So I would have been 53. When I was 53, I finally retired my wife, Brad. So I entered into the high income men overwhelmingly marrying a stay-at-home wife. Well, she's a stay-at-home. That's undoubtedly true. But it took me 33 years. And more than that, actually. So I got married at 28. So 38, 48. So there's 10, 20 years there. And then another 2, 5. So it took me 25 years to get my wife to be a woman of leisure. Overwhelmingly marry women, right? Do they marry them or do they make them? That's the point. Very few. And I think it's disingenuous to be selling marriage in such a way. But I will say this, that they do hit on something that I do find is true. And one of the things is that marriage is only for elite people. It's only for elite men and elite women, apparently. Because if you look at and I posted this, if you look at the most recent studies, or should I say the recent stats on marriage rates in the United States have never been lower. The only people who are getting married are the upper echelon people, right? And so does that mean that it is necessarily a religious or an economic thing? Is it because high earning, high status men are more intelligent and they somehow require women to be as intelligent as they are before they consider a lifelong commitment to essentially losing half of their shit? I would argue that guys who are, let's just say, high status, we still don't know. They don't want to define what high status is, but in this case, they're talking about high income guys. And remember, this is Mac and Murphy who's reposting Brad Wilcox, who is a very religious, very full of himself, really wants everybody to get married kind of thing, right? Now, I'm going to give you guys my standard anniversary sort of breakdown about marriage, because people always ask me about that, but I'll come to that in a moment. But if we're going to talk about high status, technically speaking, BitBoy, Ben, who just lost his shit and is now in jail for God knows what, he's got a lot of money, very high earning. Is he high status? His ex-wife doesn't seem to think so, but he got married. Does that make him high status? What qualifies a guy as high status? Is it money? Is it only money? Because I can look at Jeff Bezos and I could go, this guy is like, well, he's the second richest guy in the world. Hell, even Elon Musk, I can point out the same thing. These guys are the richest guys in the world. They are definitely high status. And you see Jeff Bezos marrying Lauren Sanchez, who is a career predatory female, was gone through NBA players and rappers and gone through all kinds of people until she got the gold digger got her prize. Second richest man in the world. He has been the first richest man in the world. Does that bolster the narrative? Or does it reinforce the idea that guys who are super intelligent and maybe super rich are so busy focusing themselves on what it is that makes them rich that they lose out on the social? They don't have game. They become more beta. And it doesn't matter to them because they're so rich that they're going to be rewarded regardless. So people have asked me in the past to say, Rollo, why would Jeff Bezos want to get with Lauren Dirty Sanchez, right? Why would, he could have a new bitch every Friday night if he wanted to. He's the richest guy in the world. He could live like Dan Bilzerian. He could live better than Dan Bilzerian. Why is he not doing that? Because of his mindset. Because of a blue pill mindset. He's supposed to marry this chick. He's supposed to do those things. And whether or not that's the case or not, it's up here. That's what matters. Same thing with Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk goes and breeds like a freaking rabbit, but I've joked about this before, but I'm only half serious or half joking when I say this, is that we would be on Mars by now if Elon Musk could change his mind about himself, if he could read the rational male, if he could, sort of get serious and learn social. I mean, now he's on the spectrum, admittedly so on the spectrum. So maybe that's not a fair assessment, but Jeff Bezos certainly is. And so maybe Brad and Mackin, maybe the fact that these guys are quote unquote high status actually predisposes them to this because they never learn anything different. They're not going to turn into Andrew Tate. Ostensibly has a lot of money and has a lot of status, and he's not marrying hell. He's saying, and of course, this is why these guys are trying to counter this narrative right now, because Tate's saying it's not natural for men, especially high value, high status men, to be monogamous. And then, of course, I can counter this by saying it both is true. Polygamy and polygyny, whatever, and monogamy are both natural human traits. They both can be true at the same time, but not with ideologues like Brad Wilcox. And I dare say even Mac and Murphy is an ideologue, because he only ever report, like, you know how I know that? Because he'll report on this stuff when it's trending. But if I go and I say, I just logged the 56th female teacher student rapist for 2025, as I have been doing and logging throughout this year, they won't touch that. That's not interesting enough. You know why? Because that's unflattering to female nature. That's why they are ideologues and they are not scientists. That's why Brad Wilcox is an ideologue and not a scientist. The other thing is like they're not looking at this versus the average marriage rate in the United States right now. And they're not going to, because it doesn't serve their ideological bias. They're implicit and explicit biases. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that. I could go on, but I won't, because we're getting close. All right, we're 10 minutes out. So I wanted to also, here's my last word for you guys. Last word is this, I got married yesterday 29 years ago. So actually July 20th, 1996 is when I got married to my wife. And I have enjoyed every minute of it. I've had a good relationship with my wife from day one. We were both on the same team. And I think what's interesting is like, I get this every time I have an anniversary. What is it, 28th, the 27th, 26th? People want to say, well, Rollo, what's the secret to a good marriage? Blah, blah, blah. Like, a good marriage and a good relationship is effortless. I don't care what Oprah told you. I don't care what Lila Rose tells you. I don't care what any of these fucking idiots tell you. Good relationship is effortless. And I don't give two flying fucks about what Tate says about it. I don't care what Orion Taraban says about it, because these guys are not in relationships. They're not in marriages. They haven't been married as long as I have. They don't have. And I think what's funny is like, I get accused of not having receipts. Like, you know, what is it? Rollo Tomasi don't get no hoes, right?
Man, Rollo Tomasi don't get no hoes, man.
Remember that? Remember when I got run? Well, of course you don't. Yeah, Rollo Tomasi. Well, show me some hoes that Rollo Tomasi pulled. Okay, well, I can show you one. I'm still pretty proud of her. She's still in great shape. She still looks great. She still has fun. We still have fun in bed and out of bed. I was a really good weekend this weekend. And it always is. And I'm very much in love with my wife. You know, to say like, oh, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I am in love with my wife and she is in love with me. And it is in every way possible to have that. But people will say, well, times are different now, Rollo. Yeah, that's what I keep saying. People go, how come you're so down on marriage, Rollo? How come you're not promoting marriage? You have a great relationship. Because I'm me, you're you. It would be disingenuous of me to write 12 rules for a great marriage, 7 tips for a hot marriage. Number 4 will surprise you. I would feel like I was insulting my followership, my base, if I was to do that, because it's not one size fits all. But I will say this is that I attribute a good lion's share of my good marriage with my wife to understanding red pill principles, understanding my nature, understanding her nature, understanding the confluence between those two, and working within that framework instead of trying to like force people into it or out of it. Right? When I talk about there's a difference in like respect. Respect is a gendered concept. Love is a gendered concept. Well, Rollo, then women can't really love men. No, you're only looking at that from one side. I have accepted both sides, and I know how to work within that framework and within that reality. That's why I know my wife loves me and I love her. We just love each other from different angles, different perspectives. Oh, Rollo, if you lost your job, or if you became incapacitated or something like that, Lord knows I have been recently, she would just up and leave you, man. I'd like to think that she wouldn't right now, but the thing is like, if I turned into some like sloppy ass drunk and just gave up on life, she'd have every right to leave me, because I know that that's how it works, man. And I can work within that framework. If you can't, then don't fucking get married. Simple as that. Rollo, you always say that marriage is all a downside prospect for men. Yes, it is. Are you willing to accept that? No, then don't get married. It's simple as that. Then find something else. We're still trying to redefine relationships between men and women in the 21st century, and everybody is trying to find their solutions in the 20th century. Oh, this should be true. Oh, yeah, it should, but it's not. Do something different. If you want that, then fine, go and work something out. If you don't, then don't. I love it when people are like, oh, Rollo, is there a red flag when women have tattoos? I don't know. Do you want to get married? Do you want to have some like long-term relationship with a woman with tattoos? Maybe it is. If you're not the marrying type, that's a green flag. Get on there, man. Red flags are green flags if you're not the marrying type. It all depends on your sense of perspective, man. And it's not a brain surgery, man. It's not rocket science. Are you or aren't you? What do you want for yourself? Guess what? You get to decide what you want for yourself. Oh, Rollo, none of these girls are marriageable. Aren't you the one that told me you don't ever want to get married and that it's like you don't want to lose half of your stuff? Yeah. Then what the fuck do you care? Move to Thailand. Move to, I don't know, Vietnam or Guam or the Philippines or something like that and stay there. Don't bring her back here. Go be a passport bro. Okay, fine. I know guys that are like bodybuilders that go over to the Philippines. They live like freaking, they live like Caligula over there. Yeah. Oh, did I miss a super chat? I don't think I did. Oh, did I? Oh, here we go. Sorry. Here's the last one I have. What do you make of Vox Day's sociosexual hierarchy? I have done full videos on that. Does his definition of alpha match your own? Yes and no. I have done full videos on that, man. Yeah. So I understand one of the things I don't really like, just from me personally, is like putting guys into like too tight of a category. And Vox doesn't do that. He leaves wiggle room within the hierarchies. Like you can be a delta and move up into the beta class or move down into the gamma classes. I think a lot of people think that you're stuck in one category. The other thing I don't like is the whole bullshit about sigmas. Everybody decided like Sigma was going to be what they were because they just wanted to be special. And honestly, there's no such thing as a Sigma. There's only pro-social alphas and antisocial alphas. And if you're antisocial alpha, you're probably like aligned more with like what you think is an archetypal Sigma. Like I said before, it's the difference between Batman and Superman, right? Superman is a pro-social alpha. Batman is an antisocial alpha. Iron Man is an antisocial alpha. Captain America is a pro-social alpha. So it just depends on how you express the qualities of those alphas. Like an alpha can still be dark triad and still be an alpha. He can still be a good guy, right? And then I also look at alphas as not necessarily being a good guy. There are antisocial alphas that are in jail. Hell, man, prisons are full of alpha males. They're full of drug dealers. They're full of gang leaders. Gang leaders are alpha males. They're antisocial, but they're alpha males. Oh, her baby daddy's a criminal and she wants to get with him still. Yeah, he's an alpha. No, he's not. He's not like me. No, he's not. You're pro-social. He's antisocial. It's the same. It's like Taco Bell, man. It's just in a different tortilla. The betas, or now I think he's taken to calling them bravos instead of betas because beta had a negative connotation to it. But they're the sidekicks. They're the fun guys. They're the happy-go-lucky dudes, right? The deltas is actually, I think more people need to focus on deltas rather than gammas and omegas, because there's more deltas than there are any other classification in that sociosexual hierarchy. And it's the deltas that keep the lights on. It's the deltas that go and fill the potholes. It's the deltas that work in raw sewage and maintain the power grid and, you know, keep the trucks running and the buses going on time. It's the delta males, the guys who just go in, put in a day's work for a day's pay. Those guys who set it and forget it guys. Those are the guys that are getting screwed more than any other of those of the hierarchy. And why do I say that? Is because average women don't want to get with average men, and nothing defines delta males than the word average. And so when average men cannot get with the average women, that's when delta males no longer want to participate in society, and they bug out and they become MGTOWs, or they just simply drop out. Because if they can't have some assurances of having a semi-regular, white bread, normal, average life, what's in it for them? That's why someone like Tommy Lahren has a real tough time of saying what's in it for guys. She's not talking to the Andrew Wilsons of the world. She's talking to the delta males of the world. You lose the deltas, you're fucked. Your society is fucked. So yeah, I am very much on board with Vox Day's sociosexual hierarchies. Now, I don't necessarily use them. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I describe them in my 6th book, very much in accordance with what Vox Day talks about, because I'm tired of fielding the question about sigmas. Sigmas are just like guys who are like sort of Asperger syndrome guys who want to feel special about themselves, and I'm set apart from this whole hierarchy. No, you're not. You're actually probably a gamma who wants to be an antisocial alpha, and therefore you call yourself a sigma. There's no such thing as a sigma. But what about Sigma Mindset? That is a program for $3,000 a month, and just so you know, whatever it is. So yeah, I'm on board, but I distill things. I'm more of a reductionist than Vox is. Like Vox puts guys into categories. I try to look at alpha and beta as abstractions, because it's useful for using those abstractions to build bigger concepts from. But from a sociological perspective, yes, I definitely agree with everything Vox has ever said about that. So yes, you are correct. Thank you for that. Shrimp bis, like bisque, like the soup. All right, it's 3-hour mark. I'm out. We are done. Oh, look, who is this? Sam Botta said, okay, thank you, Sam. Joe Marron is asking me about my shingles stuff. Oh, that's no secret. I still have I'm in a lot of pain right now, but I've learned to see things through my teeth. I've learned to thug it out. I have what's called herpetic neuralgia, which is the Latin way of saying it hurts like fuck after the shingles have gone. It's manageable, but it still sucks. So yes. And then Alina's going to be my date this year for Babes in Toyland, because my wife is indisposed that week. Let's see whatever else. Oh, so anyways, let me get down to business here. If you want to go to Babes in Toyland, we have the Reignite meetup. You don't have to be a member of Reignite to go to this. It's just going to cost you $9.97. I'll tell you up front what it will cost you to do this. Just a little bit under $1,000. And what we do is we get together, and we are going to be doing, several activities, because I'm not the kind of guy that likes to sit around in a classroom setting all the time and go, okay, and pontificate and like keep you locked up in a room for 6 hours. Fuck that. I would much rather have a conversation with you out while we are on quads, riding ATVs in the desert, in the Nevada desert. Or if we go out to the gun range and you can show me how you know everything about guns. Nice, let's do it. You'll have a good conversation with me out there. I want to go deep sea fishing, although we don't do that in Nevada. But we will be going on ATVs. We will be going to the gun range. We will be going to Top Golf. And I think I'm going to take you guys to Bel Air, which is my favorite kind of like low key. It's a poolside kind of lounge. I don't know. It could be, you could consider it a club when the lights go down, but it's more of a lounge setting, and it's by a pool. There's a lot of beautiful women there. There's a lot of interesting people there. And I think we're going to do I want to do a meetup at this place. It's at the Durango Casino here. It's just down the street from me. It's close to me, right? It's convenient for me. But it's a place called Bel Air, and it's part of the Durango Casino, and it's fantastic, and I love it. And I think I'm going to we'll do a meetup there as well. And again, we're sitting on a couch. we're talking like fucking human beings, like men, right? And we're relating stuff. And if you have questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. If you say, here's my situation, Rolo, what do you think? Analyze this for me. No problem. I'm right there to do it. It's $9.97 for, and you can come and go as you please, but it's from the 12th to the 15th. The 14th is going to be Babes in Toyland. That's going to be at the Sahara Casino, and they have a really great club in there called Azul or Azure. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, it's an indoor-outdoor gig. It's also during swim week, so we have the swim, swimwear modeling is going to be going on there. It's not super loud. It's not like super clubby loud. It's, there's some music going on for sure. We will probably have our own table and our own area for the Reignite crew. You will be more than you're invited. It comes with the package. So if you want to be involved in it, all you got to do is just hit the link below and hit me up or hit Joe Marron, my partner, up about it. It's coming up quick. So we've only got another 2 weeks or 3 weeks before it goes off. So if you want to get in, get in. I don't think we're limiting this one. So anything goes. Registration is open until it's not. So if you want to be a part of that and you want to come just to Vegas and have a good time and do a meetup and hang out, and we're going to do some, intensive, you're going to still learn stuff too. I think Joe's got a suite lined up so we can actually do meetups. And if you want something a little more technical, we've got that going as well. But I'm of the opinion that guys communicate best when we're doing something and we have a common interest, or we have a project, or we have a problem to solve. So that's what I try to encourage during our meetups, because to me, that's the only way to do it. So hopefully that works for you guys. And then, by the way, on the 15th, then we have what I call our after action report. And all that is we meet up for brunch or something like that, or a lunchtime thing. And you guys tell me what you thought. And you give me your stories from the night before, and you let me know what you liked and what you didn't like. And then we use that to create a better experience for the next one. It's very easy. No hard sells, no nothing. If you want to come, you can. If you want to join Reignite, you can get in at the lowest level, and then you don't have to pay the $9.97. You're already in. So you could do that, and then you can join the group. And then we have a school group. We have a pretty tight, very intimate community of guys, right? And we all are good at helping each other out, and that's the whole point of it. Is I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm going to be the professor. I only do that on these shows. I don't do that. I don't do that at those things. But if you want to learn how to get your Instagram on point, if you have certain sticking points, every guy does. You have certain areas that are problem areas for you. We're there to help cater to those one thing. One size does not fit all, as I was saying before. Like the red pill is not cookie cutter. It's not a one size fits all thing. Everybody has individual needs, and we're here to help you with those individual needs instead of trying to tell you, here, follow this class and follow this program and follow 12 rules for life. You tell me what you need and I'll give it to you. And if I can't give it to you, I probably know somebody who can. So that's how we make it work. Hope you guys like this today. Now, last announcement, Wednesday, we're going to do Access Vegas again, except it's going to be myself and Tristan Darshan are going to host the show, because we're trying to move over to a weekly format. Mike might be there, but it'll be me and Tristan who are doing the hosting. It'll probably be us and maybe 6 girls, I think. And then we'll have Mike on there as well, but Mike will just sort of be a participant instead of a host. So we're kind of trying to break Tristan in as an alternate host. And of course, the next following week, we're going to do it again. Will be me and Mike, but we're trying to move the show to a weekly format. And this is how we're doing it. So once again, instead of doing a midweek, I'm going to be doing midweek Access Vegas. So, and you can find it right here on this channel, or on the Access Vegas channel, or on Mike's channel, or on our Rumble channel. So 4 places of access that you can go get Access Vegas. And that's what we're going to do on Wednesday. Sorry about Sunday's show. I apologize once again, but I think I have more or less vindicated myself of Lauren Southern and giving you a little bit more today too. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'll see you again on Wednesday. And again, Reignite, if you want to get involved, it's the first or second link that's down there. Also, to check out my Substack. And if you haven't bought a book, or if you're wondering, oh, what's this rational male stuff about? Just go to the Amazon.com link, which is right, the very first one right there, and pick up a book. That helps me out a lot. Okay. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Okay.
Would you do it again? I need to feel you on top of me. I don't chase booty. It was my first time, but I was just a kid when we went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by and went over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now, let go. Bound to keep me up all night. But maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Best of my life.
Hey, dog, you got me monologuing. Feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up every wall while I got your hair. While you're screaming my name.
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Ugh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stopping with her hair. Like she's calling you Kelly.
Well, I'm a whore.
Want me? Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting messy. Working up and down on your body. Want me? Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night. Emotional. We can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know if maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
The City Podcast has been a production of the Rational Mill. All rights reserved. Register trademark 2025. Where's Ned? Where's Ned? Don't steal Ned's stuff.
I feel like I just took a bath in battery acid.
If maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
Then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Best of my life.
Tell that bitch to be cool. Say, bitch, be cool.
Be cool, honey.
Say, bitch, be cool.